Hey everybody, this is Tara Platt and I play Katarina on League of Legends, and you're listening to The Gaming Outsider.
Welcome to the Gaming Outsider podcast. On this week's episode, Zack, Jacob, and I discuss the recently announced Switch 2 and what features we hope will be present when Nintendo's new hardware releases. In news, some unannounced Sony games were canceled this week, and we discuss whether or not the price of games will go up in 2025. Jacob shares his impressions of Dynasty Warriors Origins, as well as a game called Hydroponics Farm and Store Simulator. Not making that up. Plus, you'll hear me talk about Luck Be a Landlord, which is getting a console port next month. This is the Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to the Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com, our Facebook at facebook.com/groups/the GoCast, and even our Discord server. You can find a link for it in the show notes of this very episode. It is Tuesday, January 21st. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me are my good friends. First off, the guy that gave me the bug for making gourmet coffee, Mr. Zack Parkerson.
Yes, that's the only bug I gave you. Let's not talk about the other bug I gave you back in that Compton, LA Airbnb.
Oh yeah, when we had cockroaches in the Airbnb.
Oh yeah.
True story. I would wake up in the middle of the night, go to the bathroom, and I would like get a spray cleaner thing and just kill them.
Well, at least you're doing good work at least.
Yeah. No, but in all seriousness, my my new coffee grinder showed up today that my dad gifted me. So I've got a burr grinder. I'm gonna do the espresso correctly. I'm excited, man.
You're getting pretty serious about this.
Dude, I've been researching coffees, like brands and different kinds, and I'm using Aldi beans right now, so I definitely need to upgrade.
Wow, okay. There's all this fancy equipment, and then you use the worst beans.
I know. I mean, like, that's all I've been doing my French press for forever, but thank you for the inspiration. One of these days, I'm going to have you teach me how to do it. But also joining us, the guy that joined me on my racquetball excursion this week, Mr. Jacob Gunderson. How you doing?
Are you going to get the cat poop beans?
The cat poop bean. Oh, dude, I heard. I actually somebody Joel Solinsky sent me those. It wasn't even cat poop. It's like some weird. It is a feline, but it's like a wild feline.
Yeah, but they have to digest it.
That eats coffee beans, but they only eat the good ones, but their body doesn't digest them, and they poop them out, and they clean them. And they sell them for insane amounts of money.
And they clean them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever you say.
I will not be spending $241 on a bag of coffee beans that came out of a cat's butt. If I ever get to that level, guys, I want you to shoot me. But
well, if you ever see Jamaica Blue Mountain coffee, that's the best coffee.
Jamaica Blue Mountain.
Oh yeah.
So are you a dark roast? Medium roast, blonde, because I keep getting different opinions from people.
I generally like a lighter roast because I want that caffeine, that sweet caffeine.
There's more caffeine in a lighter roast?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. The darker the roast, less caffeine, more flavor. That's kind of the trade-off.
Huh.
The lighter roast, you're going to get like a less intense flavor, but you will get more caffeine right in your veins. Yes, every TV show and movie has lied to you forever.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
I've been getting dark roast thinking I was getting juiced up, and that's wrong.
No, but maybe it was better for your health overall that you tricked you. Maybe I just gave you dangerous information.
Maybe
big bean conspiracy telling you that it's more caffeine for darker beans.
But hey, I will tell you, even with the crappy Aldi beans that I'm using right now, that I'm not grinding with a burr grinder, that I'm putting in my espresso machine and making a little shot, like what do you call it, a cortado? Yeah. And I put a little raspberry syrup in there.
Oh,
yeah,
the raspberry. I was always fond of the raspberry syrup. If I went with the syrup, for sure.
Same here, dude. And it's just so good. And I just love that you just got like a spot of coffee instead of like El Grande. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's talk about some video games. Zach, what you been catching up on playing lately?
Yeah, the only thing I've really been playing, I kind of wanted something mindless to distract me these days, and so I picked up Raven's Watch because it was on a great sale.
Mm-hmm.
Said mindless.
That's right. Well, non-story, not too investing. But this is a run-based randomizer where you play as fairy tale characters, but they're all kind of dark spins on the characters. But it's kind of a unique one of these in that the map itself is they're set. There's like 3 different maps, right? And each one is set, but the locations of things are what's procedurally generated. So you know, like up to the top left of the hill, there's always going to be something, but you don't know what's going to be there.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of an interesting mixture. And then, the combat is your standard kind of roguelike fare or whatever. You level up, you pick a new talent, you try to build craft using your randomized elements and such. But it has a few cool wrinkles in that, like the characters are pretty wildly different. Like you can play as Little Red Riding Hood, but the game has a kind of a short day night cycle, and every night she turns into the big bad wolf. So you're playing as a different character.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah, or you play as Geppetto, and he's got little puppets you can throw out to be your minion helpers. Aladdin, he has like 3 super strong attacks that you can use per run.
I get it.
So each character has this kind of clever gameplay conceit that makes them really interesting to learn because they're all surprisingly different.
That sounds rad, dude.
So it's been like a ton of fun. Really enjoying it.
Does the Pied Piper get child labor?
He gets rats. So
okay,
yeah,
I'll take the rats.
But and your basic attack is him as like a bullet hell kind of twin stick shooter, but you're playing flute and you're hitting people with musical notes. So that's pretty cool.
Dude, this sounds amazing. I want to play this game.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's just got so much character, I guess, to it, or flavor. Yeah. And then as you rank up the characters, because you rank them all up, and they unlock new talents and stuff like that. But they also unlock little snippets of story where they narrate their tale to you, and it's kind of that's where you see the darker spins they're putting on all these characters. So you get just a little bit of a narrative reward as well. Nothing serious like Hades or what have you, but just enough carrot on the stick. But otherwise, I mean, yeah, just every time I've played the game, I've had a blast because there's just so much going on with all the different characters, and there's 4-player co-op if you're into that kind of thing.
You playing on PS5, I assume?
Yeah, but it's got full crossplay.
Oh, cool! So I could get it on Xbox and play with you.
Yeah. I was playing. I did one multiplayer match with some randoms, but it was way harder, probably because we were uncoordinated, but also there are just so many more enemies when you play in co-op.
Were you like talking with them, interacting with them?
No, of course not. I'm not gonna talk to a stranger online. You out of your mind? What is this, Xbox 360?
Dude, if we didn't talk to strangers, we wouldn't have met so many people.
You're right.
You know that.
You're right. I'll get on there and I'll do my best Little Red Riding Hood impression.
And then you can tell people about this awesome podcast that you do every week.
That's right. Yeah. Well, when I tell them about the podcast, I'll do my Beowulf impression because it'll be manlier.
You should just play the whole game like that.
As Beowulf, I don't know. Would he talk like this? I have no idea.
Is that how Beowulf talks?
I have no idea. I don't know what country he's from. I don't know where the story originates.
Scottish.
It was like Jason Statham.
Yes.
If he was a little further south.
Come on. Jason is great. But anyway, Ravens Watch. I would recommend it to any fan of run-based randomizer. I'm having a total blast. Can't wait to put some more time into it. Good loop of rewards, which I think is essential in one of these. So yeah, man.
Very
Ravens
cool, man.
Watch.
Shout out to Nick Brown who joined the chat. Haven't seen him in a while. Good to see you, man. Thanks for watching. For me, I played some Baldur's Gate 3 this weekend with Kevin. I felt lost with us skipping last week, so it was really good to get back into it. Unfortunately, Paul wasn't able to join us, but Zach, I had the most epic session of Baldur's Gate 3 this weekend.
I assumed it had to be pretty great because you texted me out of cycle. You texted me out of the podcast loop to tell me about it.
Oh yeah, it was.
I assume it had to be pretty good.
It was really good, and I got to, Jacob, cover your ears because I know you haven't finished the game. Not literally, and don't.
Probably also better to take your headphones off, and probably a better way to.
Yeah.
Not hear.
Like, come on.
So there is a character that you stumble across in the game pretty early on. His name is Raphael, and you discover that he's a devil. And our characters made a deal with him. He wants some crown. Let's say he wants this, but he can't get it himself. He needs us to get it. And in order to get it, he offers to give us this hammer that's going to help us get it, like a big meaty hammer. But in order for him to do that, we have to make a deal with him, and he makes us sign this contract where if we don't fulfill this deal, he gets my soul, basically. So I've been going through the game, trying to do this quest, and finally in the third act, we have to make a decision about what we're going to do. Are we going to find this crown and return it to him? Or are we going to break into this vault where he's keeping the contract, destroy it so that we are no longer under this contract?
Okay, that's interesting.
So we decided to do the latter, and it took a long way to get there. I won't go into all the details, but it was awesome. Just all these different trials you have to go through in order to get there. We get it, we destroy it, and then we go to leave. And as we go to leave, he shows up with this big dude that we fought prior, like several sessions ago. And this whole thing turned out really cool. So Raphael is pissed, right? he's really angry that we broke this thing, and he wants to fight us. And the big dude that's next to him, he's basically warning Raphael. He's like, "Hey, I fought these guys before. They're strong competitors. They're worthy opponents." And so I start talking to this dude, and I rolled beautifully.
Oh.
And I actually convinced him to join us in the fight against Raphael, which was awesome. So I've got he didn't want up being super helpful in the fight, but he would have been a pain in the butt if we were fighting him. So Raphael, it goes into this massive, or not massive, but it goes into this arena area like a boss fight, and the music changes completely. It's music I've never heard in the entire game. It almost sounded like a musical, kind of like that moment in Alan Wake 2. You know that musical where it's like he's like speaking but singing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just this grandiose music is just going, and it's just insane. And we have to fight him, and there's all these other demons around. And his health bar, he has 666 health points.
Of course, perfect.
Which was awesome. But then there's these 4 pillars on either end of the room that he is consuming to power himself up. So we're like, well, we got to destroy those first. And it turned out that didn't stop him from consuming the stuff, but it lowered his defenses, so it did wind up being good. It actually took us 2 tries to do this fight. First try, we failed miserably. But what made this fight really interesting is we also had an additional character in our party, because it was someone that was helping us to get there. And it was a character that was brand new to us, and then we realized that we get to control her. Like I'm controlling her in the fight. And she's a cleric, so she's got lots of healing stuff, but I'm not familiar with the character to know how she works. So I'm like learning it in a boss battle, which is interesting.
Right.
But she wound up being super helpful and very necessary. Again, keep in mind, we're max level. We can't get any stronger. You know what I mean?
Does that mean you have 2 bonus compatriots then? Because you also convinced that one guy to fight on your side?
Well, but I'm not controlling him. He's doing his own actions, right? And he does this thing where he like disappears and then just reappears and does very little damage, and then disappears again. So it's like dude, yeah. No, I mean those little bits add up, right? But it just turned into this long. I mean, we seriously probably did this boss fight for like an hour and a half. It felt like.
Oh my god!
And it came down to the very end. Like 2 of our characters were dead. It was just the healer and 2 other characters, and I was down. We were down to like 40 hit points or something. And then good old Karlak goes in there, last 2 hits, takes him out, and it was awesome. And the best part is a part of the quest is to keep that character alive, that extra that healer character. The first time when we died, we actually lost her in the fight as well, so we wouldn't have got that bonus. The second time we did it, we got her back, and it was awesome. I don't mean to like sound like I'm overselling it, but this was it just felt like a fist pumping, relieving boss, and he's not even like a main character boss. This is a side quest. Like, it's just so cool. It was awesome.
I can't believe boss took an hour. What is this, Monster Hunter?
Yeah.
Hey,
And he dropped some armor that none of our characters are suitable for wearing light or for wearing heavy armor. And I don't even think light armor. Most of them are no, there's light armor. But anyway, my character is not normally able to wear armor, but this one has some magical ability that automatically makes you proficient in that kind of armor if you wear it. So I don't know if you know about D&D, but it bumped my armor class from 13 to 23, which is insane in D&D world. So now I'm an archer that's no longer squishy, and it feels kind of awesome. So
Oh, good job, man.
It was a really good time. I can't wait to get back into it. So, and the best thing about this is when I'm done, I can start it again as a completely different character and have a completely different experience.
So we a whole different game. Yeah.
lame.
Yeah. Jacob, Nick Brown in the chat is asking if any of us are getting into Diablo Season of the Witch. You were a big Diablo person, but I can't remember your thoughts on Diablo.
I mean, I don't necessarily like 4, but I mean, if there's a party that needs, people, I can join.
Mm-hmm. I fell off of that one way quicker than I did Diablo 3. So I'm sorry, Nick. None of us are playing Season of the Witch, but what I am playing, I didn't say this at the top of the show. We had a cold day here in Rockford. It's cold in Rockford. It's like negative 30 wind chills this morning. So there was no school today, and I used that opportunity to take a dive into Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And holy cow, Zach, I may have to retroactively rethink my top 10 of 2024.
Told you it's pretty good, man.
This game has its hooks in me, and I'm not even that far into it. I just got to Giza.
Yeah. So you're about a third into it.
Oh, is it a third? It isn't. Okay, that's good to know. I didn't realize I thought it was just barely scratching the surface. But
yeah.
This game is great. I am just having fun going around. I spent most of my time in the Vatican, just going around doing the side missions and fun side missions, like intricate puzzles involved in side missions that feel like main quest stuff.
Right. The level of quality between the side quests and the main missions are indistinguishable.
Right. I get frustrated with some of the collectibles because they don't give you a map marker for it. It's just like you got to find it. Then I found a map for one of them, but it doesn't do verticality well on the map. You know what I mean? It just has a spot on the map. So I can't tell if it's up or down, and there's nothing in the world. When I'm holding the map, I don't see it doesn't give me a waypoint to go to. So I just feel like I'm just wandering around trying to find some location. Did you find all the collectibles?
No, I didn't go for the 100% simply because there's no platinum trophy anyway.
Oh.
But when I play it on PS5 next, this upcoming, whenever it comes out.
Oh, you're gonna play it again?
I'll play it again. I'll get that plat. The shot.
All right.
Pick it up when it's on a nice sale or something.
I'm not gonna pull a Grant and say it's clunky, but I do have some issues with some of the buttons. Like when you're in the menu and you want to exit the menu, but you want to keep your map up, it feels like it's 3 button presses to do that. Am I alone in that?
I don't remember. This is the first time learning that you can walk around with your map up.
You didn't walk around with your map up?
No,
you can hold the map up in front of you, and walk around, and you see your icon on the map.
Without the menu there as well?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I did that a single time. I would look at the map and see where I need to go, and then put the map away.
Right. Why would you do it any other way?
Because if I put the map away, it takes away my waypoint. Yeah. I can't go walk towards a waypoint. I just have to follow the map organically. And
I don't think I set a single waypoint.
No, it's not me setting the waypoint.
Oh,
when the map is up, it puts a little yellow dot, go walk here.
Right. Yeah, I would just tap that briefly to see where the dot is, and then go put it away.
Yeah, I just walked around with it. Sometimes I would actually look down at the map and just follow, because it actually has your live cursor on the map. And I would just go through corridors like
Doom style.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. All right, I learned something.
He's playing Indiana Jones like.
Yeah, it's true. He's got a full tablet.
Right.
Well, except you can't see the very bottom of the map. So if you want to see the bottom of the map, you have to literally look down to see the bottom of the map.
You're punishing you for your insane lifestyle.
But I'm just picturing Indiana Jones walking around dressed up like a priest with his head down. Like,
Right. Yeah, I don't
with a
remember.
map in his hand.
I watched Temple of Doom the other day. I don't remember a single scene like that.
yeah. It's funny you say that. I started watching Raiders last night. Just was like I was in an Indiana Jones mood after playing this game.
Of course, yeah. What's your favorite Indiana Jones movie?
Raiders, by far.
Oh, by far, huh?
It's one of the few movies that I consider to be a perfect movie. There's nothing wrong with that movie, other than the glaring fact that somebody brought up that Indiana Jones, if he didn't exist, the events would still happen exactly the same.
Yeah, people say that, but
Yeah.
would it?
I mean, they would have found the Ark, they would have gone to the island, and they would have died anyway.
I hear it. I hear what these internet people say. But
no, but it's a
anyway,
perfect movie. I love it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a perfect movie. Last Crusade is my favorite, though.
Last Crusade is a close second.
Yeah.
The humor is good in that one. I love Sean Connery as Henry is good.
There are a few greater punchlines in cinema history than finding out they both banged the same Nazi chick.
That was pretty good.
Wait, what about you, Jake? I don't want to leave you out. Are you a Crystal Skull guy?
No, I'm probably Raiders.
Yeah, it's good. It's a great movie. I mean,
that opening scene is just so iconic. The first time he like steps out of the shadow and you see his face.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, hero shot.
Yeah, even...
I love it. I went back to Astrobot and played that Christmas DLC. Did you guys play that?
Yeah.
I did not know that there was Christmas DLC. So now I have to go
what a great level.
Seriously. It like uses every one of the abilities. It's not really long. It's really fun. Like you're just like lighting up the Christmas tree, finding all the bots. It's just so good.
It had big Banjo-Kazooie energy, and I mean that as a compliment.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Jake, you need to play that. It's really great.
Yeah, dude, it's great.
Even though it's past the season.
I should go play Banjo-Kazooie.
Christmas, you carry Christmas with you, Scott.
Right.
The season is whenever you want it to be.
I know Christmas is a season, not a quarter. I've been saying that for years.
But you can have the Christmas spirit at all times.
You can.
That's right. Yeah. It sounds like he doesn't. Scrooge McDuck.
My God. Anyway, I dabbled more in Skyrim. Nothing crazy to report. Just kind of leveling up. And
are you role playing as the Grinch during this playthrough?
No, not the Grinch. And I hit a mini milestone in Malatro this week. I got the second tier all the way across on all the decks unlocked, so now I'm working on the third tier.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Dude, that's impressive. I just finally got my first Switch win.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, since moving over.
So do you find it interesting, like, starting over? Like, it feels like you know so much more about the game and you're getting wins a lot quicker?
I definitely got my first win a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting because you're like, where's that Joker at? And then you like unlock it. You're like, oh, that's why I wasn't seeing that Joker.
That's why I haven't seen it.
I'm still missing like 6 Jokers that I have yet to unlock, and they're all like stupid things to unlock them, like discard 5 jacks at a time, or have $400 in cash on hand at one time, or score 10 million points in one hand or something like that. Like,
you'll get there.
I feel like I'm not at that level.
So I don't know, man. I think you'll get the 10 million. The $400 at once seems kind of like a lot.
Well, there are some some Jokers that like increase the interest rate, and then you can double your money and that kind of stuff. So it's just you have to be more frugal, but it's you want to keep going at the same time. So I've gotten to like 250, and that's about as high as I've been able to get. But also, the game just passed 5 million copies sold. I read today, so one guy made that game.
Local Thunk sitting pretty.
Probably. I mean, he probably has a team of marketing and stuff like that somewhere behind there. But yeah, I think he's good, and we'll never wonder if we're ever gonna like know his identity.
I love that he doesn't. He's just in the background. He's always just talking about all these other indie games you should be buying, and then he seems like a cool guy.
Yeah. All right, well, that's all we've been catching up on. What do you guys say we go ahead and jump into the week's news? Not really a brand new trailer, but some news about the next Sonic movie. I learned today that it has a release window of March 2027, so that is for sure happening. I haven't seen the third one to know if there's a stinger. What characters are left? after Shadow. I didn't
Well,
follow
I
it.
don't want to give away the stinger.
Oh, okay. But is it a
But-
well-known character? Because I feel like I was out after Shadow.
It is the next logical character.
Amy?
That would be the next logical character. Yeah, I would not agree.
He's
Yeah,
beating up Amy.
It's Amy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, who else would it be?
That's my question. Like that, those
Well,
four characters are the extent of my Sonic knowledge.
Yeah, well, these are all the main ones now. But you could get deeper. You go into Silver the Hedgehog, maybe Espio the Chameleon. Why don't we get that Charmy the Bee out here? What about Cream the Rabbit? Big the Cat? We got plenty of people to go through here.
Wasn't there a Metal Sonic?
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
That could be a thing too.
He's not much of a character.
No?
He
I
doesn't
mean-
talk, right?
No, he talks.
Okay, I stand corrected. He talks.
I think in one of the like the little episodes, he has existential crisis. There's like they make a liquid that dissolves living matter.
Is this in the
And-
games?
And no, it's like a comic book series or something.
Oh, I don't. Well, whatever.
Who
Who cares about those things?
but yeah, but
Oh my
but there's-
goodness! Did you just say that?
No.
But yeah, there's this liquid that dissolves living matter or something, and Metal Sonic like touches it and it does nothing, and he kind of goes through this like I'm not alive phase. He like has this moment where he breaks.
Sounds deep.
So yeah,
they-
you could absolutely have a movie about Metal Sonic.
Interesting. Anyway, in other news, Sony cancels 2 previously unknown games. Genshin Impact loses to the FTC this week, and there's talks of games like GTA 6 going up in price as high as $100. Zach, I'm going to let you go first this week. What story would you like to talk about?
Well, I gotta talk about my boys over at PlayStation
Mhm.
fumbling again. Yeah, they canceled 2 games. One out of Sony Bend. Having been denied their Days Gone sequel, we're working on a live service game that's been canceled. We don't know anything about it other than it's wasted a bunch of their time. Blue Point of all people was working on a live service God of War title because they helped out on Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting because I don't know if you remember, but years ago they said they wanted to make an original game using somebody else's IP. I don't know if you remember that because it felt like such a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
But now we know why. But
Yeah.
There
God
it
of War.
is.
No closures for either studio, but Sony has not mentioned layoffs coming or not. And it is also worth noting that just earlier today, NCSoft canceled the Horizon MMO they were working on.
Man, of all the games that would have made a good MMO, I feel like Horizon would have been a decent one.
I feel like it makes a better Monster Hunter clone.
Yeah, maybe.
And the
Shoot.
world lost nothing of value.
Right.
My question is, how would a live service God of War game work?
I assume you just lean into because it's got a bunch of loot systems and stuff for the armor.
What, you got a bunch of Kratoses running around bashing each
No,
other?
it would be
Everyone
like
is Kratos.
make your own Norse Valhalla warrior. I don't think that's what I would assume.
Man,
Warrioress.
I mean, we'll
Yeah.
never know, I guess, right?
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like a combat system that lends itself to a live service game.
Or a story. But
But
I mean,
how
how do you become the God of War when the God of War is already the God of War?
well, you wouldn't be the God of War, I don't think.
It would just happen in that universe.
So it'd be him like holding the tournament kind of thing, like entertain me.
They could set it back in the Greek days, and you could be Spartan warriors who are out to kill the God of War Kratos, since he was kind of a turd over there.
You
So
gotta
it could
say,
be like 4-on-1 kind of situation.
Yeah, then it's just like he's an undefeatable final boss or something. I
Hmm.
don't know. Yeah, it doesn't sound great, but I guess they thought it was a home run for a while.
For a while, I was just gonna say they must not have thought it was a home run. I mean, this stuff has to be, after the failure of stuff like Concord, right? Like they kind of like pump the brakes a little bit.
Yeah, I think they're reevaluating their 12-game live service plan that they had.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they're regretting buying Bungie pretty heavily right now, since most of that was for live service knowledge.
Yeah.
So that's probably got to be one of the biggest acquisition blunders in history in the video game, world.
I just, you got to get ahead of stuff, not get into it in the middle of it, right?
But I think this is fascinating because this only leaves Fair Games and the Horizon multiplayer game. Those are the only 2 left that we know about
Yeah.
of their live service initiative. And I guess you got Marathon coming from Bungie.
I know nothing about that game. I keep hearing the name and I don't know anything about it.
Right. It's crazy.
By the way, Rob Matthew over on Facebook had a comment. He said, we could all be illegitimate children of Kratos.
That's true. I mean, he gets around.
It's very true.
At least he did in the first couple games, and then they kind of had to tone that down. Remember those scenes in the first God of War where like there was like a mini game?
Dude, it's like in the opening of the first game, you can have a threesome.
Yeah.
The vase falling on the ground.
Yeah, exactly right.
Went through a lot of vases when I played that game. What about Bend? Because I feel like this team is just getting the raw deal all around because Days Gone, granted, I haven't played it, but you spoke very highly of it, Zach.
Right. It was great.
Story was really good and gameplay was interesting. It wasn't well received for some reason. Didn't get a sequel. They got
but it sold millions of copies. It sold over 5 million copies.
And that wasn't considered a success at the time? I don't remember.
By any metric, it would be. They've never said why they didn't go ahead with Days Gone 2, but just like financially speaking, there'd be no reason not to.
Mm-hmm. Fingers crossed. Maybe they'll let them do that now.
Yeah, that's right. Return of Sam Witwer.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the layoffs aren't coming. I know that's kind of an expectation of this year after the year that we had last year in 2024. But yeah.
Dude, I mean, so it means a God of War live service game's been canceled, a Spider-Man live service game, Last of Us, Twisted Metal.
Which, that one makes sense.
That one's, yeah. I think that one's the one that makes the most sense. And then we had, whatever Bend was doing, whatever Deviation Games was working on, but that got canceled. But that got canceled before the studio even made a game. They got shut down. London Studios live service game got shut down when that studio closed. Then, of course, Concord, the biggest bomb in history. So I think it's just fair to say Sony unbelievably mishandled this push.
Too many irons in the fire, right?
They went too high. Yeah, and I don't understand, like, the Last of Us factions. They were working on that for years.
And of all the ones that would succeed, because people really liked the online game for Last of Us.
Yeah, it was great. The multiplayer was great.
So I was surprised to see that one shuttered. I expected that one to do well, but
especially because they talked about that one pretty openly too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
what are they doing over there? Yeah, and Twisted Metal just seems like a no-brainer for a live service game,
right?
Like I would like to know how like a progression system would work in a Twisted Metal game. You know what I mean? Like
new clown bobbleheads for your Sweet Tooth car.
You mean just cosmetics?
I was gonna say, what's that MMO with the they already have a car customization shooting game. I can't remember what it's called.
I have no idea. There's a car MMO?
Yeah, they already have one. It's I cannot think of it.
All right.
It's like Crush or Crash or something like that, whatever. But yeah, it's got fully customizable cars, and it's got all the you play against other people with their own cars and vehicles in an arena, and they've got weird ass builds.
Cross out, Matt.
Yes,
that's what Rob Matthew is telling us. Not me. I'm not taking credit. Rob Matthew had the.
Thank you.
He
Rob.
came in clutch.
But yeah, that's a great game. I played that for a while.
All right.
I've never heard of it. No, but I'm thinking more like a progression, like when you're playing like a Call of Duty or something like that, where you unlock new guns and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, use new machine guns, I guess.
Right.
It would just be a lot. Think of how many different, because it's not everybody has the same build. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everybody's got a completely different. All those vehicles were completely different, had completely different weapons.
Yeah.
Handled differently. I feel like, I don't know, maybe it could be stuff like handling and braking and nitro and things like that.
Or it could be like, every character's got their set loadout, but here's, 2 abilities you can customize, and you can level up and get different ones there or whatever. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's not ever going to exist.
I was just going to say, we've spent so much time talking about these games that we're never going to see the light of day.
It's not going to happen.
Let's go on.
Playing a Last of Us multiplayer game right now.
There's going to be
just a world. I would be playing it right now.
And then in 2025, there's going to be like 2 or 3 multiplayer games that are just going to explode and be this next big thing. And Sony's going to be like, we should have.
Oh, Black Sands.
I don't know that
Or is
one
that
either.
Black Desert? Black Desert.
Black Desert. I know that
That's
was an online one.
But that one's been
It
out for
is.
years, though.
Right.
All
I know.
right.
A little late to
Anyway.
explode in 2025.
Well,
I mean,
I'm just saying like that because that went everywhere for some reason. That game sucked.
I know they just added a gunslinger girl to the roster, so maybe that'll blow it up.
There you
And
go.
it certainly had me looking.
Going back.
All right, Jacob, what story you want to talk about?
Genshin Impact loses to the FTC.
All right, what happened there?
So the FTC claims, I'm sorry, I was swallowing. So the FTC claimed that Genshin Impact is deceiving children, teens, and other players into spending hundreds of dollars on prizes that stood little chance of winning. This is happening a lot in video games. The FCC says that they're directly targeting children by using bright lights, tones, and compels them towards spending money on luck-based gotcha pulls akin to gambling.
You mean video games?
Yes.
No,
I mean,
bright visuals, light tone. That's
Not the video games I play.
well, yeah, but
I mean, there's lots of it in games like Rocket League. I was going to say Grand Theft Auto, but not Call of Duty. All these games that have loot boxes have this kind of mentality going on where you're buying, you buy a loot box. Okay, we're not buying, you buy loot box. Okay, so I know what I'm buying, but then there's a random chance in the loot box. So you're kind of gambling. And some of the companies have gotten away from it by saying that you can buy loot box keys. Okay, so you're purchasing the key. You're not actually buying a random item. You're buying the key to have a random chance, which is still gambling. But there was a huge court case going on in California over whether this was going to be absolutely legal or not, and I'm not exactly sure where all that went, but apparently Genshin already lost. So
I thought loot boxes were pretty much gone.
No, there's lots of games that still use different types of loot boxes or loot things that are still bought with the same stuff. Even Borderlands 3, I know that came out a while ago, but they still had it in their game.
shift keys or something like
Yeah,
that.
all the shift keys and stuff that you could get the keys for free, but if you wanted to have more chances, you would have to buy more shift keys. And
Dude, last time I went into Borderlands 3, I had like 200 shift keys. I have no idea how I got them. And I spent like 10 of them on the chest, and I got crap weapons every time.
Yeah.
Like,
So it is a gotcha system.
yeah, totally.
There's Call of Duty World War II came out a couple years ago. Oh, I mean, it's like 5 years ago, but they had a weird system where you had to have a social ranking in the game to get good loot drops out of the boxes that you bought. And so there was this hidden
Just
mechanic.
like the European theater.
So if you had just started the game and wanted to spend $400 on it, you would get nothing. Whereas if you played for tens, hundreds of hours, you'd have a better social score. And so then when you bought the loot box, you would get better items out of it.
That's really
That's
something.
scummy.
That's really something.
It's very scummy, but a lot of these loot boxes use all the shiny lights and the noises and anything that builds up to how these items are presented to you.
So when would be the good time to use a loot box then, right? Because like I feel like you do a loot box to kind of catch up to people that are already ahead of you, but you want to hold off until you get.
Well, that goes to the mechanic of paying to win. If I can buy something to allow myself to have a stronger item to catch up to people, that's not what that mechanic was used for. That was just for unlocking different skins or maybe different guns or whatever. But it was never really used for anything in game that would actually help you.
Gotcha.
A lot of it is skins. A lot of things are whatever. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare had different types of guns or different off branches of guns, I should say. The guns they performed differently in game, and that was a little different. But a lot of businesses now have started going to where the loot boxes are worth a set amount of money, but don't give you anything of value, I guess, for the game other than visuals. So it kind of sucks. I mean, Rocket League is a big one of this. Once Epic took over Rocket League, you started buying items to unlock the blueprints of whatever thing that you were buying, but you still had to buy the ability to unlock those things. It was a mess.
I don't know, man. Those skins are pretty valuable to kids.
But that to kids. That's
Hence
why.
the FTC's point.
Yeah.
Hence the point.
That's why Hoyoverse had to agree to pay $20 million in fines and block purchases from players under 16 without their parents' consent.
How do they regulate that? How do you know that the person making this is?
You really can't, right? It's kind of
You
like
can't.
porn sites. You have to be 18, right? But all you have to really do is just click a box. You know, so
Yeah.
it's probably something similar. Or I guess it probably means that if your account is labeled as a teen account, you probably just can't make the purchase without like a passcode or something. Maybe, I don't know.
So parents would have to parent,
Right? which is difficult. I understand.
Who parents?
There's just no way a parent's can take responsibility when they can blame a corporation. But
My question with this story is, for Genshin Impact, what about everybody else? Why just Genshin Impact? Why? I mean, Fortnite's still a thing, isn't it?
I think you just have to make it. You have to make a target out of who you can, right? I mean,
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that's like when people were like, like myself, was like, well, why does the Microsoft acquisition bother the FTC so much? But really, what I should have been thinking was, well, at least they're starting somewhere,
Right?
Yeah.
So,
and this one could set precedents, but like I said before, there's already been other court cases where the company has gone, okay, well, you're not buying the chance for an item anymore. Now you're going to buy this loot box key to open the loot box that you earned. So you know exactly what you're buying with your money, but then you're just getting a chance for an item.
Man,
and
that's lawyering it. Like,
yeah. that was their workaround to the gambling aspect of it, because you're not actually gambling with your money. You're buying, you know exactly what you're buying, but then that only gives you a chance at
but
something.
what else can you spend those keys on?
Nothing.
Then it's
Right.
just a catalyst. It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's so funny how we just openly break laws like that.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or skirt around it.
Yep. Well, even what was it? Modern Warfare 3, the new one, had some system in it that would put players with skins that were doing really well in the game against players that were doing horrible in the game without skins, to entice the players that without skins to buy skins so they would do better.
I think if I
Or
just
they
get
look
killed
like
by
they're doing better.
Yes.
if I got killed by Nicki Minaj 12 times in a row, I'd probably just quit.
Yeah, probably. I don't know, but yeah, there's a lot of scummy things that are happening in the video game industry if you're not keeping up with it.
Let's move on. That leaves me with this story about the possibility of games getting more expensive in 2025. I feel like we've been talking about this for a while, but this analyst by the name of Matthew Ball, he's an investment analyst. He cites that other entertainment services have gone up significantly in price, but games are still cheaper by comparison. He cites inflation, saying that in today's dollars, GTA 4 costs $90 and GTA 5 costs $83. That is weird to me. Feels backwards. GTA 4 would have only been $60. Inflation doesn't go down. I don't understand.
No, what you read is right. GTA 4 would cost $90 and GTA 5 would cost $83.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
What
I'm thinking backwards. Okay. And then he rounded the whole thing up with a tweet that said, "I don't think they'll do $100, though some have reported as such. I'd bet they stay at $70 base, and if not, then $80. What I said is many in the market hope for $80, if not $99.99. So the internet blew up with this whole thing because everybody's freaking out about the possibility of, reading a headline and saying Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be $100. Like, they're going to have a problem with that, first off. Like, it's not going to matter.
Like, all these people getting super angry over what one dude said he hopes happens.
Right. I mean, and I feel like we've talked about this a bunch. Games is one of those things that hasn't been hit by inflation as much as everybody else. Sure, we've got some games, AAA games now are going for $70, right? But and that's it in 25 years, actually more like 35 years probably, that games have just been $60. Meanwhile, my Netflix, I think just went up to $25 for the premium account. Remember when Netflix was like $8?
Yeah.
Like that's like 3 times. So imagine if we were paying $60 and then the games kept up with inflation, we were paying $180 for games right now, but we're not. We're paying $7. Discuss. $70.
Shout out to Sean Coates showing up just in time for Grand Theft Auto discussion.
Yeah. What's up, Sean?
Fellow guy who hears the GTA San Andreas wind chime in his life, as I do in my head. So we're kindred spirits. Well, first of all, I think right at the base that he's talking about how like companies are hoping that they charge $100 so that they can feel justified increasing the price.
Well, yeah,
feel
nobody
like-
wants to be first, right?
I feel like the other companies are going to learn real quick that they're not Rockstar, and that their game is not Grand Theft Auto 6. It's one kind of sale when it's GTA 6 with 12 years of hype behind it. Everyone assumes it's going to change games, charges $100 versus, hey, do you want to buy Skull and Bones for $100?
Yeah, right.
These. So I just, I'm not sure it would shift in the way that these other companies are hoping. First of all,
It makes like if that's going to happen, then they need to start rolling out demos again. Remember,
That's true.
like when you could just go play demos on Xbox 360 or PS3 and like try out a game?
Sure, that was a long time ago, Scott. I feel like demos are making a comeback, especially when you can transfer your save progress over. Those have kind of been taken off.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been something. But
Yeah.
but in general, no, I don't. I think GTA 6 knows full well it will make billions of dollars. At $70, I don't think they need to rock the boat. So
Right.
I'm not too concerned about it.
But companies have already been finding a way to still have the $70, $60 price tag and still make more money off of the release of a game. They've been offering
Right.
advanced play or more time, or a few days early, or bonus content or whatever. So I mean, they find a way to make their money.
That was them testing the market.
Oh yeah, of course.
See if people were willing to pay, and that they're looking at those numbers and seeing how many people paid the extra $30 to get a game 5 days earlier than everybody else, and said, "See, that many people are willing to do it. A plus B equals X. If X is, they're doing all this math."
The problem with that math, though, is you make a game that's $100. The customer is going to look at that and go, "Well, I don't want to pay $100 for the game," but they're willing to pay $100 for 5 days before everyone else. That's the difference.
Right. It's FOMO.
Well, yeah, but when
they're willing to pay the extra $30 to have an advantage over somebody else.
Yeah, and that's all it is. They will if you release the game at $100, they might not buy it at all.
Gotcha.
But you want them to buy it, so you're going to kind of trick their brain into thinking that, oh yeah, you're going to get an advantage. I wanted that game.
Wait. You're saying people wouldn't pay $100 for the game if they got it at the same time as everybody else, but they were not going to play the game at all.
Absolutely.
Just because they can say that I got to play it before you, they're going to pay $100 for a game they don't want to play.
Absolutely, because at the base, there's a lot of people in this world that need to feel special, and if they are going to play the game anyway, they're going to pay that extra money out to just be 5 days ahead of somebody else.
That's a really good point, actually. I didn't consider that, because I was thinking the other way, that like they're proving that people are willing to pay $100. But yeah, you're right. It's that me first mentality. I got something first.
Because they're not going to pay $30 for more game. They're paying $30 just to be ahead of somebody else. And so if you put the price tag on the game might not even get purchased at all.
And Zach, like in the past, we've talked about how we don't like to put price tags on how long a game takes to play. But, a game like GTA 6 clearly has a lot more development going into it than arguably maybe even like a Star Wars Outlaws.
Sure, definitely.
You know what I mean? So are you going to, I think you're going to spend more time in a Grand Theft Auto 6 than you are in a Star Wars Outlaws.
Right.
So to me, I'm not going to get Grand Theft Auto 6. I'm not really super interested. But especially if you factor the online component, which is clearly going to be there, right? There's no way there's not going to be an online component.
That's their moneymaker, yeah.
Right. So I don't think $100 is that big of a deal, but that's also coming from a person that's not going to play it. But again, I'm kind of like arguing against myself, because in that case, you're going to put so much more hours into that than you are a 30-hour game like Star Wars Outlaws.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like it is the dollar value or the hour value. I think there's something to that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree, but so are you saying you want like malleable release pricing?
Malleable.
So you want some games to come out and try to charge $100 and other games to realize that they should charge 70?
No, I think games. My kind of argument is that games should be priced accordingly to how heavy the development is and how much of an experience you're going to get with it.
Oh, but that's so subjective though.
Yes.
Right. But I mean, that's going to be up to the developers. I mean, there are games that I would have been willing to pay $100 for just because I spent that much time in it. I spent $10 on Balatro.
Well,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
look at Concord. They thought that the game was going to be great. What if they thought that you were going to put 1,000 hours into it and then they charged you $150 to play it? It would have crashed and burned even harder.
Paul Hine commented and said that's what microtransactions are for.
No.
I think we don't want that, right?
Well, I don't think it's well. Clearly, the market actually says they very much do want that.
I know that's what's crazy.
Yes.
Like, I mean, how many times have we talked about like mobile games where their only model is to do that, where like you got to buy the hearts or whatever? Like, no, just let me buy the game. Let me just buy the game.
But why? They lose money.
Yeah. Paul also mentioned by inflation dollars, Super Mario 64 would have been $120 in today's money. And he also said that World of Warcraft is $180 a year. You're paying for a live subscription.
I mean, yeah, but
and that's just, you got to keep paying. You don't stop paying. You got to pay another year.
Right. And Sean also makes the interesting point that, like certain games cost more. Like I think he uses Street Fighter 2 as an example, but I think Turok was like $80 for the cartridge because it just had more data on it or whatever. But the argument against when people bring up that old games used to cost more, the counter argument for me is always just tens of millions of people play more video games now, so companies are making more money anyway.
Right.
And also that doesn't account for how, I mean, I guess publishers don't need to care about this, but it also doesn't account for like housing has gone up exponentially. Our groceries cost more now. Our gas costs more. Your dollar goes a lot less distance, even though the numbers are higher than they used to. A $120 hit in 1996 is a lot less devastating than a $120 hit in 2025.
I mean, that might,
I don't know, man.
That end math might be a little off, but I understand the concept.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at from my perspective where what I was making in 1996 versus what I'm making now.
Right. But I'm saying, so the $80 for Super Nintendo in 1992, yes, is a huge number and is a bigger amount of your paycheck. But because everything else around you was costing less, that $80 doesn't hurt you as much as it would today.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but the prices of video games can stay lower because every video game now has a battle pass. $10 a month here, $10 a month there, $10 for this season, $10 for that season. Like they make money hand over fist with those battle passes
or special editions or things like that. So
right. Yeah, I didn't even think about Paul said we bought way fewer games back then. I don't know if we're all supposed to be reading the chat every single second of a live show. I don't know what the rules are. But I mean that's
they're making
also
good
true.
Points.
No, if you buy Harvest Moon 64, the next game wasn't coming out for 4 months anyway.
Right. There's so many more games coming out right now.
Right. There's 200 games a week coming out now. It's insane.
That's the thing is like we're gonna get to the new games coming out here shortly. And Zach doesn't even read all of the games coming out because it would take a half an hour to read all the games that come out each week.
Yeah.
It's just insane how much stuff is coming out. So yeah.
If you go on Steam, there's a list of at least 50 games that are coming out every week.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not all great games, but it's a list.
Nope, but they sure are coming out, aren't they?
Right.
Yeah, and I will say I would happily pay $100 for Grand Theft Auto 6.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to say I wouldn't.
So would everybody.
Right.
I mean, that's when I first actually Aaron Peterson shared this story with me originally earlier this week
of the Hollywood Outsider.
Of the Hollywood Outsider. And I didn't even read it. I just read the headline and I was like, it doesn't matter. If this game goes for $100, people are still going to pay it. It's not going to sell any less.
Right. This game seems so bulletproof. They could be like, yeah, $200, whatever.
Seriously.
And people be like, all right.
$200, yeah.
just like buying a sweet new
Answer that
pair of
man
shoes.
now. Answer him.
Paul Hine, misspelling. My name is spelled Zack, just for the record, Paul. But he says, "What would you pay for Red Dead 3? By credit card. Just take the number. Whatever you got to do. Put me on a loan payment plan.
Here's my birth certificate. Here's my social security number.
I'll talk to my banker. Here. I will produce a child so that I can give them up for Red Dead 3.
Oh my goodness. That went dark.
I was saying, whatever it takes.
I mean, and that's like with how often you replay Red Dead 2, you're going to be playing that for the next 20 years.
Dude, oh my God, you're right. I wouldn't have time for any other games if I tried to play. If 3's as long as 2, I would get any other games in.
Right.
2 and 3.
Every year.
Every year.
1. Yeah. And the Nightmare got to squeeze in there. Come on. Yeah. This podcast would just be the Red Dead Outsider.
All right. Well, that is the week's news. Let's take a quick pause and go over and talk about the new games that we've been playing. All right, Zach, what new games are coming on the horizon that people can check out?
Oh, man. So, yeah, whatever January quiet time we had is over now. Micah and the Witch's Mountain enters 1.0 out of early access. That comes to all consoles and PC January 22nd.
Isn't that Micah?
Micah, I don't know. Are you her father?
No, Micah. Didn't you see
Are you her
Eurotrip?
father?
See what, Eurotrip?
Eurotrip.
Yeah, many times.
Mika was the girl he was chasing after in Germany, and the brother explained to him that Mika is a German form of Mike.
Oh, I feel like there's no way you could possibly know that because Scotty doesn't know.
I feel like I almost like that feels set up. It really wasn't though.
Eurotrip. Anyway, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth makes its way to PC January 23rd. Raven's Watch, which I just talked about earlier, finally gets its Switch release on January 23rd. That was very delayed. It was supposed to come out along with the rest. Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist comes to all consoles and PC. No, not all consoles, because it does not come to Xbox One, weirdly enough. So it goes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, and Switch, as well as PC January 23rd. That's the sequel to Ender Lily's Quietus of the Night.
Rel loved that game. He reviewed it on our site.
Right. Yeah, it was kind of beloved. Sword of the Necromancer Resurrection makes its way to all consoles and PC January 23rd. Star Wars Episode 1 Jedi Power Battles, which I played at a friend's birthday party when I was 10. That was the last time I touched that. That comes to all consoles and PC January 23rd. Sin Duality Echo of Ada is a mech-based live service game that hopes to be the next big thing, coming to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC January 23rd. Warside comes to, this is a very advanced wars coded tactics game, coming to all consoles and PC January 28th. Wayfinder, action role-playing game from Airship Syndicate, which is about half of the Darksiders team, comes to Xbox Series consoles January 28th. That's already been on all the other platforms. The Stone of Madness, a stealth-based game set in an 18th century Spanish monastery, very specific, comes to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, Switch, and PC January 28th. Tales of Iron 2, Whiskers of Winter, the follow-up to the great rat game of whatever year that came out, comes to all consoles and PC January 28th. And
very high on your list.
And then Eternal Strands is coming from a lot of ex-BioWare leadership. That comes to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC January 28th. Jake, is there anything on this list that's standing out to you?
We just had this whole conversation about live service plays and all that kind of stuff, but Sin Duality Echoes of Ada seems fun to me. It looks kind of fun, but I don't know. Maybe I won't give it a try if it's live service.
Yeah, I mean, if there's an upfront cost, maybe it'll be a Helldivers scenario where it actually is nice to its player base, but who could say?
Maybe, but I prefer if there's an offline play.
Sure. Understood. All right, what about you, Scott?
I think you sold me on Raven's Watch.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to play it on. I'm not going to play it. I'm going to be honest. I want to continue with Indie in Skyrim, but that game sounds rad. I did not realize that it was all these characters like that, but part of me wants to see Jedi Power Battles. Like,
yeah.
I just remember having fun with it, but it was very basic. It was just kind of hack and slash, right?
Yes, it was it was like 2.5D.
Yeah.
I just remember there were power-ups that would make your lightsaber either super long or super thick,
Yep.
which sounds mildly inappropriate when said back to back, but uh, I remember that. And you could play as like weird characters like Kit Fisto and Plo Koon, who, you know, like back in those days, you're like, I don't even know those dudes. That's how you learned their names, was playing Jedi Power Battles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember that was one of the few games that at the time that went through the stories of Star Wars games. Like, I feel like up until that point we had Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back, Super Return of the Jedi,
Mm-hmm.
and then everything else was like something different. You know, we got oh god, what's the one with the dude that holds the lightsabers backwards?
Star Killer. Or
Right,
you're talking about Force
well,
Unleashed?
Force Unleashed, yeah.
Well, that would have been years later.
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh, you're right. That was PlayStation 1, wasn't it?
Yeah. Jedi Power Battles. So this would have been like the onset of prequel games
Right.
time,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I don't even think there was there an episode 1 game besides
Oh
this?
yeah, absolutely there was. You could play as
Pod
Qui-Gon
Racer.
Jinn. You could play it. No, there was just a Phantom Menace game, and you could just straight up play as Qui-Gon Jinn and murder every Gungan you wanted to kill, and the game would react to that. It was friggin' cool, dude. You could just murder Jar Jar. And it wouldn't give you a game over. It would just let you murder the whole town.
Wow.
It's pretty sweet. You couldn't progress, of course,
Obviously.
but you could. You could kill little Anakin.
You could.
If you hated how annoying Anakin was in episode 1, you could finally just cut that little guy down.
Seriously?
Yeah, dude.
That's
It's
messed up, dude.
It's a pretty messed up game. And by messed up, I mean awesome.
Preemptive strikes against Anakin.
That's right, dude. Yeah, I just saved the galaxy. You're
Right.
welcome.
Yeah, right?
It's killing baby Hitler.
Oh, what was that movie? Was that I was just watching that recently. Wasn't that Endgame where they talked about going back and killing baby Hitler?
No, I don't know. Yeah, I guess so.
You didn't see it?
Come on. Avengers Endgame?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it. I don't remember a big Hitler discussion.
There was
No,
a scene where Rhodey was talking
Oh.
about going back in time and
Yeah.
finding baby Hitler, and he's like,
Oh.
Yeah, because they were going. Was it Deadpool?
and Hulk was like, that's disturbing. Or no, they're talking about doing it to Thanos,
That makes more sense.
baby Thanos. Yeah.
Uh-huh. No, I don't remember that. I don't know. I saw the Endgame the one time.
No,
So
I just recently rewatched it, so that's why.
it's not. It was nowhere near as good as Infinity War.
I watched
Infinity
Deadpool
War
religiously, and I don't remember that.
was such a Empire Strikes Back moment ending.
Yeah, it was great.
It was awesome. Well, let's go on.
Oh,
and
but
talk-
as for me on this list, yeah, Soda Madness does look good. But no, I think the game I want to play most of this list is Tales of Iron 2, Whiskers of Winter.
that game looks shockingly violent for like an animated 2D side scroller.
A rat gets beheaded in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Through
a couple
because
of rats.
because of the dark wings coming from the north. The Warden of the North tried to warn the kingdoms and they didn't listen.
Oh,
Can't remember where I've heard that story before. And then the Warden of the North gets beheaded.
just so everyone knows, Paul is right. There's a scene in Deadpool 2. I just remembered it, and he's just kind of like, they're talking about going back in time.
Oh yeah.
Killing Green Lantern. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, but the first Tales of Iron was great. Got the platinum in it. Can't wait to play 2.
All right. I apologize, Zach.
It's okay. I just know you. I mean,
No,
You don't
no
like
apology needed.
yeah, he just doesn't like me. It's no big deal.
It was an accident. Well, I'm going to talk to Jake now because he's been playing Dynasty Warriors Origins, which I'm really interested in because I haven't played a Dynasty Warrior since, I don't know, 4 maybe.
Oh man, that's
But it-
a long time.
Yeah, like I don't know. They it got very formulaic for me, but I keep hearing good things about Origins.
What does that mean, formulaic?
It's just the same thing over and over again.
Okay, yeah, no, you're right.
And I'm kind of like, if I'm going to play this style of game, I've got Hyrule Warriors that I never finished. I'll just go play that. But this one looks a little bit more.
It is a lot more involved.
Yeah.
I want to say that there's RPG aspects into it, but after actually doing some of the skill trees and stuff, they're not really RPG aspects. They're just kind of progression based. You get these little points that you can go that you put in a skill tree, but that'll come later. So yeah, there's not. I don't want to say there's much to the story, but it basically it follows the events that every Dynasty Warrior games has. The Yellow Turbans attack, and you're kind of picking up the pieces in a world that's riddled with chaos. And so, differently in this one, instead of just following where the battle goes, you actually get to walk around the world as a giant and go wherever you want to, and you kind of clean up random battles here, random battles there. You find new weapons and are allowed to upgrade your person in a various different amount of ways.
Well, wait a
And
minute. You go around as a giant and then you shrink down and you
but
fight small?
it's the map. It does like Final Fantasy stuff where you get like little battle music and then it
Oh,
zooms in, then it goes into the fight.
gotcha.
But yeah, you kind of walk around the areas, you ride a horse too, and it's been a lot of fun recently or lately.
But didn't you also say, we were talking about this a little bit earlier today at the gym, that they do the thing in this game that Zack hates where everybody talks except for you, the main character?
Oh my, yes. And there are some moments where you expect people to talk and they don't talk at all, but the script is still at the bottom of the screen, so it's a little weird. But yeah, your character does not make any kind of motion whatsoever to say that they're talking or have any kind of emotion at all. He just kind of stares at the screen with his big blue eyes and just kind of is menacing in his own right. But yeah, everyone's just kind of talking at you, and you're not really. You have dialogue options, but they're relatively the same. And so when you choose one, the person reacts to it, but it just seems like they could be reacting to either one that you chose. And
Mhm.
so I thought it was going to change how the conversation went, and then it doesn't feel like it changed it at all. But it's it's interesting that you're seeing it from a different side, because in the other Dynasty Warrior games, you were kind of just a soldier and they'd come to you and go, okay, here are your orders, you go do this, and then you went and did that. And in this one, you sit on in the war console, they talk to you, there's a discussion that happens, they figure out what they're going to do, and then they sit, they're like, okay, break, and then they all go into the battle.
Gotcha. My question, one of my biggest questions on this is how this works with modern consoles, because I was always impressed at how many enemies were on screen at one time in the older consoles. But are they able to just do even more? I mean, is it just like hordes and hordes of enemies?
So the Dynasty Warriors has always had this really good mechanic where when there's people behind you, they kind of fade away so you can't really see them, but they're still there. And once there's too many on screen, they kind of become invisible. So they're still there, but they're not rendered.
Gotcha.
So it makes it easier on. Actually, this game is really well optimized. It loads in the battles and all the menus and all that kind of stuff. It loads in really fast. I was actually really surprised. It being a newer game, I was expecting some pretty heavy loading screens,
Hmm.
and there's not.
Wow.
Um,
You're playing on PS5?
I'm playing on the PC. My
Oh,
PC is
PC.
probably about 6 years old, and
Hmm.
it's still holding up perfectly. I don't see why anyone wouldn't be able to play this game on any console. It's great. Um, one of the newest things in there, which you want to talk about the hordes of enemies, is they have this new charge mechanic where when you get to a certain part of the mission that you're in, your commanding officer will go, all right, everyone hold the line, and everyone lines up like they do in normal battles and all that stuff, and then he says charge, and there's probably about 200 people on screen, horses, all that nonsense, all running, the screen is shaking and everything. It's so intense, and then these two forces clash, and you
And
just
they
see.
don't look repeated?
Mm-mm,
You know what I
no.
mean? Like when you play a game and you just see like the same character doing the same motions and stuff, it all
I
looks
mean,
like
all
individual.
the little enemies, yeah, all the little enemies are relatively the same, but there's it's not as heavily noticeable in this one. They
Hmm.
all kind of do like the relatively own thing, but you're still knocking out thousands of people, in the mission, just in crazy movements and stuff. So it still makes you an overpowered menace on the battlefield, but there's another mechanic in the game that is morale.
Hmm.
And if if they still have more bases on the field than you do, their morale is really high, and it changes how the little enemies, the normal troops, react when you're around. If
That's
they have high
interesting.
morale, they will attack you more often. You can actually get killed by a small group of enemies if their morale is high enough.
So it's like an uphill battle when you start each one. Like you got to go take over a base and then it just becomes progressively easier.
I remember when I was younger that when I would play these missions, I would just run to the final guy and I would beat everybody in the area, and then I would kill the final guy and the game would be over. And okay, cool, the story progresses, blah blah. This one, it really makes you fight for it, because if you go fight that final guy, every single enemy that's in that area is able to kill you because the morale is still so high. So you do have to work your way up to the final, the board chief or the leader or whatever they call them.
That sounds really cool, man. So you're recommending people check this one out?
Oh yeah, if you're a fan of the Dynasty Warrior games, this just adds a great unique spin on the already hack and slash gameplay that the Dynasty Warriors franchise is known for.
Very cool, man. Thanks for checking that one out. I'm actually interested I haven't touched that franchise in forever, and might as well start at the beginning with Origins.
Scott,
right?
there's no way you're ever playing this game.
No, there's none.
I can't. Maybe I'll come over and play on Jake's PC for a couple minutes just to get a taste of it.
There
Just
you
to
go.
get a taste.
Just play Hyrule Warriors and be like, good enough.
Right.
Yeah, it's true.
It's me again, Scott.
It is you again. I scrolled too far. So we're going to talk about this game, Hydroponics Farm and Store Simulator.
I'm gonna take a nap, I think.
I mean, you can ask questions too.
No, it's a farm and store simulator. How could please let us know how this is exciting?
It's not. This is one of those games where
All right.
it's pretty much a snooze fest, and this one is probably even more than
You
some of the other
requested
ones.
it.
This is like
I
a
know,
cozy. Is it a cozy snooze fest? Is a way for you to relax? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay.
I mean, if you wanted to be able to sit back and watch your employees do the things that you want them to do, yeah, by all means. But I love store simulators and I like farming simulators, and I kind of thought that this was going to be a good mashup of both. It says that there's crafting, it says there's building, and it says there's store management and all that kind of stuff. And so far, I have seen none of that in this game.
What are you doing then?
Well, hold on, because it says simulator, but then you also said your employees do the work you tell them to do.
Yes.
That doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound realistic.
Right.
at all.
No, it's not realistic. It's a
Yeah.
game. It's a game.
What's going on there?
So the game starts off, you already have a building, you already have a store, you already have items to sell. It's a little tutorial to get you warmed up into the game. And they've got chapters, little side missions for you to do to progress how much you have in game. And so you have to deal with so many customers, you have to restock shelves, you have to do this. And for some reason, out of the blue, it says hire your first employee. And when I moved away from the cash register, there was already someone standing there. So I don't know what was what that all was about, but he was magically there dealing with people. The creepy thing about this game was in the beginning, you would have to run around and restock shelves and plant crops and do all that stuff just to keep the store satisfied and whatnot. But when the people would go to pay for their goods, they'd put their goods on the table and then stare at you and hold out their money. And wherever you walked in the store, that's how they were. And they were just staring you down while holding out their money.
But wait, they're standing at the counter with
Yeah.
their money out, and it's like if you go around, they kind of like turn.
Yeah. They would
Like,
just kind of
with them-
slide.
and their money like facing you, just like come take my money.
Yeah.
That's
It's-
kind of funny.
It was funny, but yeah. And then probably about after 30 minutes of playing, you get the guy, the cash register guy, and he takes care of everything for you, and they stop doing that. So I don't know if that was a glitch or something that shouldn't have been completely noticed in game, but it was, and I think it was funny. But it was still kind of creepy to have somebody on the other side of the store like staring you down while you're trying to work.
So I mean,
But,
like it sounds like a game, like you're saying, like you're stocking shelves and I mean, it's a hydroponics thing. So are you like having to like hook up, or doing any building and crafting?
I really wanted to build and craft in this game. I like the idea of being able to mechanically go in and move things around and try to get things to work better. But you're not really building in this game, more of assembling. If you buy, a hydroponics table that gives you where the items are supposed to go, and then they drop the items off, and then you just put them in place. So you're not really building a facility to do the stuff you're in. You're just building the singular table, and then you can move it wherever you want to. So the building aspect really isn't true. Like I said, it's more of assembling, and it kind of sucks.
That's weird. That's kind of what I expected and why I assumed you wanted to play it. But man, sorry you're not digging that one, man. I don't even know how to pronounce this developer. Bewolba Studios.
Bewolba.
It was provided to us by Game.Press, and you can pick it up for $9.99 on Steam or on PC if you're interested in it. Doesn't sound like you highly recommend it.
Not highly. There's better store simulators. There's better farm simulators, but I mean, it's a good time waster.
Okay.
The employees are they manage themselves well enough to actually do everything that you want them to do. But once they they have this weird little mechanic that once they're out of work, they walk around and then they kind of kick rocks. They just kick their feet out a little bit like they're bored. And it's funny to see. Like, I have somebody that's there for only maintenance, and they're just kind of like, things are going wrong in the store. The shelves are empty and all that stuff, and they're just kind of walking around the store kicking things, like looking for work to do. And it's like, come on,
it's a used car lot, and you're kicking the tires.
Right? Yeah. So, but yeah, if you like store simulators, it might be worth picking up, but it's not one of the best store simulators I've ever played.
All right, that is Hydroponics Farm and Store Simulator, and it is exclusive to PC.
Suburba. Scott, you've been playing Luck Be a Landlord, which is a run-based randomizer slot machine, which I would say, yes, another game inspired by Balatro, but this predates Balatro.
Yeah, this game came out in 2023, and I picked it up on a sale a while ago. It was on sale for like $2 or something. I'm like, yeah, that sounds kind of fun. I'll give it a shot. It's I can't remember if it was when you guys were on the show, but there was a cell phone game called Spincraft. Do you guys remember Spincraft at all?
I am vaguely aware of it, yes.
Okay. I downloaded it. I actually paid for it because that was one where you could pay for it and not get the ads and everything. And I loved it. And it just mysteriously disappeared from my phone one day. Apparently it's available now. I don't even know if I would have to go look and see if download is still good or not. But
I thought maybe your wife deleted it because you're spending too much time on Spincraft.
No. But Luck Be a Landlord is basically Spincraft. So if you're familiar with that game, it's the same thing. And the reason I'm bringing it up now, people are like, why are you bringing up a 2-year-old game, in essence? The reason is I got a press release on it, and it's coming to consoles. So it's coming to Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch on February 6th. And I wanted people to be aware of it because I do think the formula is pretty fun. But what's really funny, Zach, is if you watch the trailer, you know how whenever they do you get a trailer for these ports, they talk about this is the new features and this is what's going to be happening, right?
Right, of course. I mean, but that's usually how you sell people to buy it again, I guess, if they already had it.
Right. This trailer, they literally they say it's like this movie voiceover guy. We've changed nothing. It's the exact same game, just on console now. I kind of respected that. I thought it was pretty funny.
Good.
Yeah, dude, I do respect that. That seems like the honest way to go. But Luck Be a Landlord, yeah, like you're saying, it is a roguelike spin on a slot machine, right?
It is. There's not a story, but you are renting from a landlord, and there's a slot machine that you use to pay for your rent, which is it's a silly thing, but
that's kind of a story.
That's it though.
That's somebody's story.
In Balatro, you have to reach a certain chip count. In this one, you have to reach a certain number of coins in order to pay your rent in so many spins. Right. So your first rent is 25 coins, and you have to do that in 3 your 4 spins. So you spin the roulette, and whatever pops up, usually at the beginning it's just one. It's just symbols that give you 1 coin, and then between each spin, they do the RBR thing where you get 3 new symbols that you can put into the slot machine that just totally get randomized.
And that's how you're leveling up through your RBR runs, is getting new things to put on the roulette wheel, or the
Correct.
the wheel, I guess.
And some of them are, oh, this one is worth 2, this one is worth 3. But then they get more complicated, and you have to start getting you want to start picking things that are going to match with the things that you have in your wheel. So I'm going to give you a real basic example. There's all kinds of symbols. There is a cat symbol. There's also a symbol for milk. So if you have both the cat symbol and a milk symbol, and when you spin, if a cat symbol and a milk symbol show up and they show up right next to each other, the cat drinks the milk and you get like 15 coins.
Oh, there's a story. The cat was thirsty.
Sure. And that's just like a very basic combination. There's just like so many combinations. It's like almost overwhelming how many different symbols and things that there are to put on your slot machine. But it is really fun just because it's very little skill, right? You're picking things, but at the end of the day, it's very much focused on luck, because whatever symbols you pick, you could not get the matching ones later on. You know what I mean? So it's heavily luck based, but there's almost like a freeing feeling to that as well. That it's just like, I'm just gonna play a slot machine, and it's pretty cool. It's a fun little game. I'm playing it. It's $10 on Steam. I have to assume it's gonna be the same price on console. This just seems like a great, especially for like a Switch, something mobile. I feel weird playing this on like Xbox or PlayStation, I guess. Like it just feels like something that deserves to be played on the go.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's how Battlefield took over your life. More so,
yeah. I mean, I'd still be playing it on Xbox if I didn't buy it on phone, but it's just so convenient on the phone.
Right.
But so yeah, Luck Be a Landlord. It's a fun little game. It's not available on console now. It'll be February 6th, but stay tuned for that. In the meantime, you can pick it up on Steam for $10.
And the story is your landlord's a jerk.
Well, he keeps increasing your rent.
Like, that's every story.
Yeah.
Every time you pay your rent, he raises it.
So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm playing on my Steam Deck, which it works great on the Steam Deck. I mean, it's one button, right?
Right. Pull lever.
Well, I mean, you got to, you could probably just press the screen for which ones you want to do, but it works great on the Steam Deck, and it's a fun little game. So highly recommend it. All right, before we get to our topic of the week, I want to remind everybody about our website, thegamingoutsider.com. You can find all of our episodes there. Also, youtube.com/thegamingoutsider. If you are watching this live right now, you are obviously already there, but check it out. We are streaming the episodes on Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central Time. So if you'd like to come join in, we got a bunch of people in the chat right now. I forgot to say hello to Gamer Knight 45. How you doing? Elite Chief 52 is here, and also Va. If you guys remember the story about the guy I met at GameStop that just gave me, he spent his Nintendo points on me for a Zelda collectible. Jake, you were there.
He's been here.
Yeah, he's been here for a while. I forgot. Yeah, he was on the show. So check that out. Again, our website is thegamingoutsider.com. And
Alan Sheck is here as well.
Oh, Alan Sheck. Hey. I believe his game was in your top 10 list of, or not yours, but CB's top 10 list of favorite games of 2024. So.
Oh, right. Yes.
Catastrophic Inversion. If you got a VR headset, you got to play it. Speaking of top 10 lists, my personal favorite top 10 list of 2024 is available, and I would love it if you guys checked it out. I put a lot of work into doing that.
No.
With that said, let's go ahead and jump into our From the Outside In topic. All right. It is a big week. This news was so huge that we decided to make an entire topic out of it. The news about the Switch 2 was big enough to just make it our entire topic. So what we're going to do is we're going to discuss our thoughts on what was shown in this, minute and a half trailer?
Yeah.
And then what we in the community hope to see from the new hardware coming later this year. So Here's what we know about the Switch 2 from the brief glimpse that we got. I actually thought it was a really cool idea that they did for this trailer. They basically took a Switch 1, and then they slowly like upgraded different parts of it to show you what's going to be different about the Switch 2.
It evolved Digimon style.
It was really. I
Into
don't
the
know that
Switch 2.
reference.
You've never heard of Digimon?
I've heard of them. It's like
No,
it's
that's
like
it.
Wish.com Pokemon.
It is better Pokemon.
Take that back.
Is it?
Yeah. It was for the cool kids, obviously. Come on.
Switch 1 Digivolve into the Switch 2.
Not Super Switch. We're all so
No,
sad.
Right. Or the
Not
Switch.
Switch.
Or the Nintendo Snap,
Oh,
which is what I was.
no.
So
God, no.
here's what we know just from the trailer. It is a Switch, but it's bigger. It does have magnetic Joy-Cons. Everybody knew that. Although it does look like it still plugs in. Like
Yeah.
there's still like a connector.
Right. Mm-hmm. I think the magnet just probably just keeps it in place.
Right. I was kind of hoping like you could just like put it up there and it would just snap in, but wishful thinking. It will be backwards compatible with Switch cartridges. There was like an asterisk next to some of the downloadable games. I'm hoping that's just like Labo stuff.
I was gonna say it said not all titles, but I assume that's a Labo and Ring Fit Adventure and
Right.
Stuff that requires more of the Switch's unique capabilities or old cardboard.
Yeah. I'm kind of bummed I didn't get into the Labo stuff. That actually looked really fun.
Yeah.
to put
Too late
together.
now.
Yeah, I know.
I guess you know what? You can just go to the dumpster probably out back.
Too late
Sure, there's some cardboard in there.
I mean, there's plenty of cardboard. It's just a matter of getting the
Just get a Sharpie and write Labo on it.
So anyway, we're gonna get more information on this on October 2nd, which is kind
April
of funny.
2nd.
What did I say? October?
Yeah.
April 2nd. Goodness gracious. April 2nd, we're gonna get more information, which is funny because April 2nd in Japan is gonna be April 1st in America
Oh.
for part of the day. So that's gonna be a fun day.
That's already funny.
Yes. And then there was a new Mario Kart game shown as well. I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was like, I think 15 carts on the screen where the max was 12 before, but there were spots for like 24 or 25 racers on, the little starting things. So that could be a big thing. How do you guys feel about this? Because I think it was a well done video, but I feel like Nintendo was not ready to do this. They wanted to do this back on April 2nd, but because of the leaks and the rumors and the third-party developers putting this out, it felt like it was just a flash in the pan. Here's the name. Here's what it's going to do, or some basic stuff. We're going to give you all the details in a couple months.
I thought the video was great. It was well done. It was short. It was concise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a great, fun video as well. Seeing some of those new features we're interested. There's a mouse Joy-Cons going on.
Okay, so I wasn't the only one that thought that because it seemed very obvious to me.
Well, especially with the straps look like tails, just kind of look like mice. I don't know, read too much into that or not. But as for them wanting to do this or not, you're right. It does kind of have this ring of like we got to say something, but it's kind of weird because you're Nintendo. I don't know if you did. Your accessory partners were getting kind of uppity. But again, you're Nintendo, so you could be like, "Hey, stop being uppity, or we're just not going to work with you."
Right.
I mean, it's just. But I guess this is probably the easiest solution to just. I'm personally happy they did it because now I have to stop reading headlines that are like, "Well, reports are saying," or this guy on this podcast behind a Patreon paywall said one time to his friend that he thinks maybe the Switch 2 will come out and it'll be 17% bigger. So I'm glad that those headlines are gone, is what I'm saying.
Well, now they're still there. There's just like so-and-so heard that the price is going to be $399. And
right. Well, it seems like everyone kind of, that was my first instinct, right? $400, but
yeah.
Or have someone taking the picture of a 3-second Mario Kart thing going, "Oh, there's places for 27 racers."
Right. Gotta catch that freeze frame. Oh, look at that Donkey Kong redesign, man.
Or is it a restaurant that's Yoshi's restaurant that's like on the side of the road? That's a new locale.
I saw a new Mario Kart and went, Oh, great! I'm gonna get roped into playing this, aren't I?
I don't know, man. I'm honestly like kind of over Mario Kart. Don't
I
shoot
didn't.
me.
I didn't even like Mario Kart 8, but everyone I know always wanted to play Mario Kart 8 with me. So
Yeah.
thus, I played Mario Kart 8.
Whenever I bring my Switch to school, they always want to play Smash. So
Yeah,
That's
there you
better.
go.
they're way more into that. And
I've never played Smash on Switch, but I assume it's better than Mario Kart.
So
I mean,
probably one of the biggest features is the magnetic Joy-Cons, but the stand in the back, now that it is the entire console, just feels so good to me
yeah.
because
So that
I
little
would,
flap.
yeah, it's a little flap because I'd always be trying to play it and I would bump the table and I'd fall over. It's just
Stop
it
bumping the
was-
table.
I can't help it. Smash gets exciting sometimes.
Yeah, the kickstand always annoyed the hell out of me. What that it was only on one side.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous. So yeah, this is much better, no doubt.
and the SD card was hidden under the kickstand to add
Is that-
memory to it. You'd
Oh,
have
is
to
that
lift the
right? It
kickstand
was?
up and yeah.
Is that right?
I didn't know that.
Do you want me
I
to
don't
check
remember.
it?
I've
Look
never
up the-
used SD card, so like
I don't know.
I just thought the SD card went in the same slot as the
No,
as
as the games.
yeah.
Well, that
How
would
are you
be
gonna play
silly.
games?
Well, if you have your SD card, you're playing whatever game is on the SD card. I thought.
What?
The OLED switch was the
Are you
Isn't
high?
leak.
Don't you? What's the point of an SD card but to have games on it, like downloadable games, right?
Right. Yeah, but you can save. Yeah, but then you still want to have Switch cartridges in.
Right.
At the same time,
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not understanding why you would need to have.
So you put in the SD card so you have additional memory space so you can download a bunch of games, I guess, and then you could put your saves there if you wanted to. But
I just assumed it was like I would pop that one in whenever I wanted to play whatever digital game I had downloaded on there.
No.
what if you
that's-
wanted to download a game from afar and you had a Switch cartridge in there or something?
Well, I put like a 4 gig SD card on the back of my Switch. I wouldn't put one Switch games on there.
My mind is blown. I'm gonna go look at my Switch when I get when we're done
I
recording.
don't remember going into the kickstand, but I have no choice but to believe you, Jake, because I just didn't put it in an SD card the day I bought it and then moved on. You know, like I never tinkered with it again.
My mind is kind of blown. I feel totally like an idiot right now.
Well, that shouldn't take too much help.
Wow.
You walked into that. What was I supposed to
did.
do? What was I supposed to do? Not touch that?
He just wakes up in the morning, looks in the mirror. Wow, idiot.
Dude, that's why I
Um,
don't look in the mirror in the morning, as I was telling Scott before the show.
I actually like the design, the color design, where it's like mostly black and then accented with the blue and red.
Dude, I loved that.
Yeah.
That was so classy, classy little touch.
It is. It gives me Tron vibes a little bit.
Okay, interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
I can see that.
I love the look. It just feels like a grown-up Switch.
Yeah,
know what I
like,
mean?
you like those rounded edges on the dock, kind of look a little
Mhm.
fancy.
Yeah.
We get really
Uh,
granular though. You know what? I'm disappointed in the 2. And it's just kind of the font of the 2 is it's a little lame. Couldn't you have done something, incorporated the 2 into the Switch logo somehow? That could have been a little more interesting.
I'm not.
Replace the S with the 2.
Yeah, maybe.
Ugh.
No. No, no.
Get an elite speech.
No, it was just funny. It was just funny because it was like a really fancy reveal, and the console looked so sexy, and then like the 2 popped up, and it just looked like it hit a random 2 or whatever. Just didn't,
Yeah.
it could use a little personality. That's all I'm saying.
Switch dose.
Or even just a fun looking. Why not stylize the 2 after Mario's font?
I was gonna, or like doing the Mario with the 2 fingers up.
That could have been cool too. Yeah, just something. But instead, it was just like
Block letter
Helvetica.
2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Maybe
was like, what is the most marketing safe 2?
Maybe they're sick of naming their console something different every time.
Well, they could still call it a 2. It would just look fun. Nintendo, the home of fun.
The home of fun. Yeah.
Anyway, this is obviously stretching for things to talk about from a 1.5-minute trailer. And I'm talking about the number 2.
Well, I got something else to I want to talk about the possibility, or it seems pretty certain that those Joy-Cons are going to be used as a mouse, right?
Yes.
They both have an optical sensor on them, which is interesting. It's not just one, which means if that is a thing, there's going to be some kind of 2-player element, right?
Yeah.
And
they both had it.
huh?
They do.
I
That's
thought
what he's saying. Yeah. That's what he
No,
said.
no, I know, but I mean on the Switch already.
The Switch does not have a mouse function.
No, but I mean the optical sensor on both the Joy-Cons.
You mean
No.
for movement control?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's there. I'm saying, which makes sense because games like 1-2 Switch, where one person is holding one Joy-Con, one's holding the other, or you're playing Mario Kart or whatever, somebody's holding a controller. But if you're thinking of something being used as a mouse, number one, what is that going to be used for? What are we going to use a mouse on a Switch for?
You will use it for 1-2 Switch 2 and then never again.
That's probably. But I heard a really cool idea on another podcast. I'm not taking credit for this, but could you imagine the Nintendo Switch Online getting Mario Paint?
Sure. I mean,
that
that
is
is
cool.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Mhm.
Or a new Mario Paint. Like a
Or,
brand new Mario Paint.
you could use it for like Civilization, I guess, right? You have mouse
Yeah.
control would be a little bit better that way.
Mhm.
Go over
I
there.
actually have Civ 6 on my Switch. It would be fun to play that with a mouse instead of, moving a cursor because we know and love that.
Or any RTS indie on Steam could get ported over to Switch now, since Switch is such a big seller for indies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, could you imagine there being something where you were playing a game against somebody else where you were each using a mouse?
No,
Like,
I mean I can't. I don't know.
well, I know we can't, but I'm just saying it opens up, some of these indie developers to come up with something.
You know
Again,
what? There hasn't been a Mario RTS yet, and now Nintendo has a golden opportunity.
oh my goodness.
He's been in every other genre.
I kind of want to see that happen now.
like
You're gonna-
Toads versus Koopas.
I was gonna say you're gonna play as Peach sending Toads out to do battle.
Just sending Toads out to die.
I mean, we did. What was the Rabbids one?
Right? Yeah. So they're open to these kind of things. They just have to use like, I don't know, cutesy catapults, I guess.
Or could you imagine like Mario Maker?
Yeah,
Like
that'd be a lot better. Sure.
Mario Maker, or maybe there's gonna be a new Mario Maker, or maybe in Mario Kart you're able to make your own tracks, make tracks like moving the mouse instead of like doing cursors,
Mario Kart Maker.
or Zelda Dungeon Maker, or like anything like that would just be awesome.
Of course,
I'm
you
just
bring
trying
in
to think of. I mean, I've been kind of dreaming about a Zelda Dungeon Maker anyway. Not that I would design them, but I want to play everybody else's dungeons.
I thought it was the natural follow up to Mario Maker.
Yeah, yeah. You
Not
could make
Metroid
so
Maker?
complex stuff. It would be awesome. A Metroid Maker would be cool too, but I don't know. I just like the idea. I can't think of what it would be, but some kind of 2-player game where we are sitting next to each other with a mouse. That's never even been done on PC. There's
Yeah,
no,
right.
but there's got to be a reason for there to be an optical sensor on both of
Dude.
those Joy-Cons.
It's going to be where all the StarCraft 2 tournaments are held now. It's on the Switch. Mouse versus mouse. Click. You got to get your clicks per minute in.
Yes. Anyway, so you guys plan on getting one?
Yeah,
Oh, I absolutely am.
of course.
Same
Yeah.
here.
I already told
And-
Minnie I'm getting 2.
One for you and for her, or one
Yep.
for you and for the kids?
One for me and one for me.
There you go.
You got
You-
two fists, your Switch 2s?
you gotta have that backup.
Ah, man, just the possibilities. So we have to wait until April for more details. But what are you hoping to see featured on the next Nintendo hardware offering? Like, if you had like a wish list of things that you want to be seen in this console, what would you want there to be? Zach.
On the hardware itself,
that's
Well, we could hardware, games, whatever you want.
I say, because I feel like I'm a simple man. I just want to Switch, but more powerful.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too.
Which
Yeah,
I guess like the Steam Deck offers a similar thing, but there's such simplicity to a Nintendo console. I appreciate what I can do on a Steam Deck, but I also appreciate that a Nintendo console is just exactly what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's nice. So I just look forward to that, and playing unexpected games portably, which is such a fun aspect of the Switch. But now I
Yeah.
can do it with presumably PS4 level games instead of just PS3 level games, or games that are too advanced for the Switch, not having to make a hilarious res port like Witcher 3.
Yeah.
That would be nice. I
Well,
wonder.
even first party titles, man. That Zelda Echoes of Wisdom didn't run super great on the
that right?
Switch. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if games like Witcher 3, do you think they'd be like, oh, sweet, let's do a Switch 2 version of it that actually looks good this time?
I wouldn't put it past them. And and would your old cartridge work? Like, you know what I mean?
Like a
Those are
free update, like PS4. Yeah.
yeah,
I doubt it. Why do that when you can make some sweet cash, right?
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
maybe, I don't know. CD Projekt Red's already got plenty of cash. But anyway, yeah, I look forward to that. I look forward to whatever Nintendo cooks up next. Maybe we'll finally get that Twilight Princess Wind Waker HD port from the Wii U.
Oh, you
Wouldn't
think that thing I called that was going to happen in 2024, and now it's probably going to happen in 2025? That'd be great.
Sure, that'd be nice. I mean, we've all been wanting it since like 2012 or whenever 2017. Ever since Switch came out, it's like, let's get those Zeldas over here.
Yeah,
Right.
You know what my true hope would be? A new proper 3D old school Zelda, since I guess that's old school now.
Oh, you mean like just open world dungeons?
Right. Oh yeah, the Twilight Princess style.
Mm-hmm.
Since that was the last time we really had one, right?
Yeah, that Wind Waker was before that. That was GameCube, right?
And then Skyward Sword had all the motion gimmicks, so it didn't really feel like that. So I feel like it's been,
which is too bad because you said those dungeons were pretty great.
Right. Yeah, some of them were pretty great. But anyway. Yeah, so I just feel like I'm a kind of a simple man, kind of a boring answer, but I'm happy that Nintendo realized they did not need to rock the boat. Like, it's just, the Switch is such a home run hybrid console. I mean, it changed video games, right? Like, everybody wants, and like look at the Steam Deck or the ROG Ally, right? Like, people want those because the Switch proved that adult gamers like the idea of a portable console of a reasonable size, not a DS or whatever.
Right.
And it's so much fun to have the adaptability to be like, well, I will throw it on my TV, actually.
Yeah, having that fun. I have that with the Steam Deck, and I've never used it because I can't get my Steam Dock to work.
Yeah, but it's the Steam Dock is nice, and I have played games that way. But the magic of the Switch of just setting it into the dock and it just works. It's been 8 years, and I feel giddy every time. Like, it's never lost the magic for me.
Especially when it makes that noise. Like,
yeah,
Jake just did it. Like, and then speaking of, like, the UI in a Switch is just so pleasant.
It's so clean.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah,
I hope they keep it. I love the PS3's main menus because it was just clean.
Yeah. Everything seems very cluttered.
Yes, over designed, full of ads.
Yeah.
Visually loud.
Yes.
So what about you, Jake? What would you like in the Switch 2?
I'm already happy they gave me the stand. I didn't even realize the OLED had a whole new stand on it.
Well, I've never used mine, so.
Oh, well, I actually play with some people, so I use it a lot. I have friends.
No, that was a dig. I didn't realize that was a dig on me.
I was trying to see what it is. I thought he was making fun of the fact that you never open anything.
No. I've never tried to see where the SD drive is.
My mind is blown.
But no, I had made a comment before, years ago about I wish the controller handles were magnetic rather than the slide-ons, because when you mine is in a really hard to reach area, so every time I go to reach for it, it's really hard to get the controllers
in the back of
off.
a Volkswagen?
It's in the back of it. No, it's in the back of my TV, so I have to reach over my TV to grab it. If I put it in a nicer area, it might not have been as annoying, but I just wanted it easier to grab controllers. But my kid brought up the fact of, what if you're standing there and you pull your hands apart? Is the system going to fall? Is it just going to unmagnetize and just fall?
I don't know how that's going to work. I imagine there's got to be a button like there was before, right?
I'm sure there's going to be something there to lock it in place.
And if that's the case, then why the magnets help guide it?
Yeah.
So that you actually line it up, because that little tongue thing, that
I think it's going to be a USB-C port.
Get that tongue in there.
USB-C port.
Yeah.
On the side?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Because it looks like it's dug in a little bit. So like there's a part of the Switch controller that goes in the console.
Right.
And then it has that little metal part.
It didn't look like a USB-C to me.
Yeah.
It looked more like a much flatter.
I think you're stretching, Jake.
Although it would be nice to have a USB-C on the Joy-Cons themselves, so you could just charge them.
That would also be nice.
Because I've got 4 Joy-Cons.
I want that.
So I want to charge you the 2.
I want that little extra piece that the controllers click into to have the USB. So I
Oh, there you
can
go.
charge both of them at the same
The
time.
thing that like the ergonomic where you put it in
Yeah.
between the two. Yeah. That's a good point. That'd be nice.
But other than that, like I've already gotten everything that I could want on the Switch too.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat, guys. I just want one that doesn't look like a kid's console. I like the color design of the original, but there's something about carrying that around that just screamed, "You're playing a video game," as opposed to,
Look at me, I should be ashamed.
yeah, like I feel like
So why don't you just get gray Joy-Cons then?
Right.
I just don't want to spend the money on it. Like
No.
I
would-
mean the OLED doesn't have that, so it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
I would
Although I
rather
do-
be ashamed in public than spend money.
Didn't they
Yeah.
when it launched, didn't it have the option of red and blue or gray?
I believe so.
Why'd you go with the red and blue then?
Because at the time it was
Yeah, it was the
Cool.
thing to do.
Oh,
It was
okay,
fun.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
see,
I bought it at launch. Like
yes, yeah. I got the gray Joy-Cons because of my Dark Soul. Obviously,
yeah.
my miserable life needed to be reflected in my Nintendo handheld.
There is one thing we didn't talk about. There is one thing we didn't talk about is that I actually found very refreshing. Did you guys notice that this actually does have a headphone jack on it?
Dude, I loved it.
Oh, no
They made
wonder.
it- They made a point out of it, and I was like, they get it.
Like I use Bluetooth on my Switch,
Uh-huh.
but sometimes it's just nice just to pop in a headphone and do that. Like I don't know.
I like it for flights.
Yes,
So they kept the headphone jack. That's good.
yes, and I feel like because so many devices nowadays are doing away with that. You can't even. If you have a pair of headphones that is USB-C, that's fine, but then you can't charge and listen to something at the same time. You know what I mean?
There was something that I read somewhere that the reason why the Switch didn't allow Bluetooth headphones was because there was already 2 Bluetooth controllers, and adding a third one would slow down the system too much. And so they changed it and allow you to have a Bluetooth headset as long as you had only one controller connected.
I don't mean I use my
Do you
What?
use the Joy-Cons and the headset at the same time?
I
Yeah.
do.
Maybe
Yeah.
they changed it all together.
But
I
I
mean, that
mean-
was really old news, but
But I
that may
don't
have just
play
been
it.
theory.
I don't play it with them detached. You know what I'm saying? I'm playing it with the Joy-Cons attached to the screen.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I don't know. I can't tell you from experience that I've pulled both of them off and done that. But why would you, if you're playing with somebody, why would you want to use headphones?
Oh no, what I'm saying is that the normal controllers, the normal Joy-Cons, even if you take them off to use them on the controller, it is still 2 separate controllers being connected to the same console as
Right.
one controller.
Oh, you're saying
It's
if you pull them
2
off
blue-
and then put the
it's
thing in between?
it's 2 Bluetooth connections, and they were saying that they didn't want to have the
third.
extra Bluetooth connections bogging down the
No,
system.
I understand what you're saying. I just couldn't think of a time where I would wear headphones and both of the Joy-Cons off at the same time.
Yeah.
But I
I
wasn't
did
thinking.
I did it on my recent flight to Japan. I can confirm that you can do that now. I don't know what the rules used to be, but
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
Good.
there you go. Outside of that, Metroid Prime 4 at launch, please. And this is
yeah,
going to sound
that's a guarantee, right?
right, but
This
there's
is
one,
about the Switch too. This isn't about games. Calm down.
but there's a reason I'm bringing it up about the Switch 2 is I hope that these are Switch 2 only games, like not a lesser version on Switch 1.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm
no.
saying? I want it to be Switch 2 games can only be played on Switch 2. Now you can bring your old library up and play those on there, that's fine. But because I feel like if you're playing that game where you got to put them on both consoles, the Switch 2 is chugging right now. And if Metroid Prime 4 is going to do what I want it to do, I don't want anything to be I want it to run smooth as butter.
Well, I think Metroid Prime 4 will be a cross-gen game. I think it has to be. It feels like they promised it for Switch.
Well, and that's the thing is I know some people personally that bought a Switch for Metroid Prime 4
Yeah.
because, what was that, 2017, 2018?
Yeah, something
Man.
like that.
I mean, there was no doubt in anybody's mind that it was going to come out on the Switch. And then
But but Breath of the Wild was on Wii U, but it still felt next gen on the Switch.
yeah,
So it's possible.
I guess then maybe Nintendo can do it. I just want it to be a far superior. I want it to be a
I
bigger
agree.
jump. Like
You know what I would really want is some kind of Xbox level technology where your backwards compatible games just look better when you play them
Yes.
on a Switch too. That'd be nice.
Mm-hmm.
That would
That'd be
go
good.
a long way.
Good as well.
Like up-resing, little frame rate touch-ups, make them look pretty.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, I'm pretty simple. I just want a better Switch. The Switch is fun. It does its job, but I want it to run some higher end stuff.
Showing its age. I mean, it's running PS3, Xbox 360 level tech.
Right.
It's pretty old, man.
Yeah.
And, it's nice that it can still do it, but that's pretty old.
Well, let's see what everybody else said. We had someone in the chat. I'm going to read really quick. Someone by the name of Chris Thorndike. He said that he wants Mother 3. So, that would be huge if they announced Mother 3. But
nice that he's setting himself up for disappointment right away.
Full 1080 would be nice, Alan.
1080, yeah. Oh, did he comment? Oh, there we go. Breath of the Wild at full 1080p.
I got me. I'll finally play Tears of the Kingdom on my Switch too.
I don't think I'm going to go back to Breath of the Wild. I'm sorry. I love Zelda, but I love the old formula better. Sorry. I think we're in the minority. There.
Well, clearly, based on the sales alone.
Well, I mean, not only that, but you're not on Facebook, but somebody posted one of those memes of like take the red pill or the blue pill, and one pill was Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Link to the Past, and Four Swords Adventure, I think.
Ooh.
And then the other was like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and I can't remember. And I was like, this is the easiest decision I've ever made.
Right.
And I was like one of two people that chose that. Everybody else was like definitely the others. So
what a bat in 1,000 stretch from A Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess, just knocking out 5 of the best games ever in a row.
Mhm.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I mean, yeah, it was an easy decision for me, but apparently I was wrong.
God.
All right, well, let's go see what everybody else in the community said. Starting over on Facebook, Rob Matthew, who's also in the chat, said, keyboard support, as it appears they have the mouse part addressed. I think it would be wild to play some Mario and Zelda with WASD. I am not interested in doing that. But I will say that my students at my middle school are playing Mario 64 on their laptops with keyboard and spacebar for a jump
That
button.
sounds miserable.
That sounds awful.
Absolutely miserable.
Oh my
But they're
God.
doing it. I number one, how are they doing? How are they playing Mario 64 on a Chrome?
Not
Emulator.
But I mean, I don't know. It's nuts. Number two, why in the world would you want to play a game with the keyboard? It just drives me crazy thinking about it. But
I there's lots of games that I have that are, keyboard and mouse, and then I can play controller with these games, and that's just how it is. But I don't know why you'd want to play a Mario and a Zelda game with a keyboard. that one I don't understand.
I could maybe see like original Zelda, because that was just very much up, down, left, right. You know what I mean? There was no diagonal movement in that game, if I remember correctly. But
interesting.
Anyway, Zach, you want to read the next one?
Yeah, Kyle Boggs writes, I'm simple. I want OLED, 4K, and backwards compatibility. Also more internal storage. Supposedly this is on par with an Xbox One X, so using flash memory is a ridiculous concept now.
I got some bad news. It's not OLED.
We don't know that, right? Or
Ooh.
do we know that for sure?
I had heard that it was not OLED. I did not.
Have we heard from Nintendo?
No.
I have not, no.
Yeah.
Nintendo released a video.
I can't imagine they would do OLED. They're going to want to keep this thing cheap for the first run.
Well, and also that way they can make you all buy a second Switch later.
Exactly.
Right? It's just smart business. That's
Switch 2.
Well, they'll just call it Switch 2 OLED, and everybody will buy it, even though it'll be $500, and people will be like, "Well, it's totally worth it." And then it's just crazy.
I do like my OLED.
It's just funny to me that like OLED is a special feature. It was on the Vita, man.
Yeah.
It was the standard screen of the PlayStation Vita. Now it's treated like this insane privileged technology. It boggles my mind.
I am with him on the internal memory. I don't want to have a card.
Well, you don't even know how they work.
I know.
Well,
You never even heard of an SD card
right.
until today.
No, but I mean, I have to play the juggle game with my Switch. Like I'm constantly deleting stuff on there if I want to play something because I like to keep the NSO stuff on there, like the Game Boy, the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis.
I know what to get Scott next year for Christmas. like an 8 GB SD drive.
Dude, I almost bought one just because it's like literally the same one, but it's got the Zelda crest on it. And it was like $140. I was like, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, don't spend more money for the Nintendo name.
It was like that much more. It was the exact same freaking memory card. It just had that stamp on it, and they charged like a bunch more for it. It's nuts.
Absolutely. All right. Joseph Choi says would like to see the ability to play handheld but cast gameplay to a TV. I want the return of Miiverse or some sort of equivalent to it. Also support for older console GameCubes and SD 3DS games on Nintendo Online. That would be amazing. I would love to get some crazy GameCube games.
Nintendo, I don't want to give you ideas, but I will pay you double the going rate of the Switch Online for GameCube.
I need a GameCube too. I need a GameCube too. I don't need a Switch 2. I need another GameCube.
I love the GameCube. Well, the GameCube growing up was like the console my father would occasionally play, so he bought a lot of games for it. So I remember playing a lot of games on GameCube.
Nice.
So I had a good memory. But look, man, I'll pay double the price just to play Star Fox Adventures again. You know, a game that good demands every cent.
No.
One of the best. They started the GameCube with the best product, Star Fox Adventures Dinosaur Planet.
No. I was so excited for the new Star Fox, and that one, the Adventures, and I was like, oh yes, more of what I love. And then you were on your feet, and I was like, this is not what
That's
I want.
right. Well, you just gotta accept the game for what it is, and then it's incredible. It's one of the best Zelda games ever made.
He mentioned Miiverse. It reminded me of Street Pass. Do you remember Street Pass on the 3DS?
Of course.
Mm-hmm. You think they could bring that back to the Switch?
Oh, dude, maybe the mouse Joy-Con you could use it as a stylus for DS, Nintendo Switch Online.
Maybe.
Oh, there you go.
That's an idea.
Yeah. Play what was that Kirby game?
I don't know. That's the first game you go to on DS is Kirby's Canvas Curse.
Man, did you play that?
Tilt and Tumble?
Yeah. That was a great little game.
I did not.
Hotel Dusk.
That was great.
That will never make it.
Why? They did Trace Memory. They did a remake of it.
But didn't you have to like hold the DS sideways to play that game?
Yeah, but they could. I'm sure they could fix that up.
But he brings up the casting gameplay to the TV. So yeah, that brings up back memories of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Because that was a great game. I loved that game. All the second one, the third one, those were horrible. But
let's take a Final Fantasy game and make you one person carry around a crystal.
See, again, you didn't have friends.
No, I did, and we played it, and it was boring. It was like, who's going to be the one that's going to lug this crystal around?
Oh, I never played it because I wouldn't make my friends suffer.
Yeah.
No, see, I played it by myself. I played it with friends. We had about 3. But when you're in battle, you're supposed to drop it, and then you do all the stuff. And the way the spells worked and stuff, how they got together. I loved it. But yeah, having that screen in your hand to go in and change your items and stuff, or look at a map in your hands and then look back at the TV for actual gameplay. That stuff is so fun. It's so intuitive.
No, I didn't like it.
Yeah, that game sucks.
Yeah. We kind of glossed over his. You mentioned it again, but the casting gameplay to a TV screen. Is he saying like, I'm playing it in my hand, and the same game that I'm playing in my hand is also showing up on the TV screen?
No, this is what I was talking about. The GameCube had this thing where the main game would be on the screen, but then you could have a Game Boy Advance in your hand connected to the controller, and part of the game was in your hand and part of the game was on the TV, and you could do stuff.
That could solve the DS thing if they brought DS games to the
absolutely too. Because a lot of the bottom screen for the DS games were just inventory or map or whatever, and having an extra screen in your hands. I mean, it would be the Wii U all over again, but better.
I like the Wii U.
I wouldn't know.
I just said
You know-
better. I didn't say it was bad.
No, I know. It get that
You're
concept
putting
gets
words in my
bad rap.
mouth.
I think it was more of a naming thing, but anyway, next comment comes from Brandon Smith. He says Bluetooth headphone support. The old Switch was a bit slow to add this in the beginning. There's no way that's not going to happen on the Switch
Right.
2.
Mm-hmm.
Games that ever go on sale. Oh, and they had better be including one of those controller connectors like the OG Switch had, so you can use both of the Joy-Cons like a single controller. That's a deal breaker for me. Did they show? I can't remember.
They did not show one now.
Again, I can't imagine they wouldn't do that.
That would be it. I think Brandon's right. It would be difficult for me to justify buying the Switch 2 with excitement if they didn't so much as include the cheap plastic fake controller they gave you.
Yeah. Have you ever? I actually have played because I don't know where mine is. So when I play on my TV, I'm literally like holding my joysticks just like anywhere. Like
Yeah. Well, it's fun to do.
it's very freeing. It's kind of weird, but
No.
All right, Zach, you're up.
Oh wait, hold on. And games go on sale. I bought 7 copies of Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate when it was on sale for $12.
Brandon is talking
what?
about. He's talking about first party Nintendo games, I think, because they never go on sale.
They have been.
Yeah, I saw Super Mario RPG for $30.
Yeah.
They've
actually been going on sale. Or maybe it's because it's the end of the Switch life cycle. But
say it took until now, but yeah.
Yeah.
But Andrew Jack writes in, I hope they add more older consoles to the online library like Wii and GameCube games. I also want upscaling on Tears of the Kingdom and Game Pass.
Yeah.
Well,
Game Pass.
as predicted, it'll be on Switch 2 this year.
Was that your prediction that Game Pass was going to be on Switch? Whew. I hope you're right.
Switch 2. I mean, that would be. I mean, everything's an Xbox now, right?
I'm just saying.
Such as the marketing.
Yeah, be able to play MCC Halo on your PS5 soon, right?
The MCC won't let me be.
Isai Munoz says, integrated mic, please, or at minimum headset support. Okay, so like what the PS5 has where you can talk to your controller?
Yeah, or I mean, but didn't you have to use like an app to use voice chat on Switch?
Oh, you're right. I never played online with anybody on the Switch. So like but you're right, there was an app on your phone you had to do. I forgot about that.
I didn't have any friends.
You might be right, dude. You might not have any.
I just keep getting more evidence.
He's just got
Baldur's Gate 3 every Sunday, guys. Shut up.
What?
Yeah, but...
with 2 people from our like close knit friend group.
That would be the ideal friends, but you know these people are also. I think it's kind of like an after school program for them. You know,
we kind of work with these people. Yeah, it's an after school program.
It's teaching you.
Zach, you're up.
Oh, are we jumping over to Discord?
Yeah.
You hear from Drew Ross. I wanted an OLED screen in handheld and 4K 80 HDR docked. Looks like that is not happening. I understand, though, they want to keep the cost down, plus they're not trying to push graphics. I'm glad to see your digital library carries over. I'm sure a deal to get Game Pass on there is wishful thinking.
If we say it enough times.
We'll get Game Pass?
It just happens, yeah.
It does seem,
Nintendo?
Everybody wants that OLED, huh? But they know you want it. That's why they're going to make you pay $500 later for it later.
Right.
And you'll do it.
Oh.
Because Paul Hine in our chat mentioned, watch, they'll have 2 SKUs at launch, one with $100 difference for the screen. But that would be something a nicer company would do. Because then you would just buy it the one time. But that's not the Nintendo way.
No.
Yeah,
they're going to wait. They're going to wait 2 years and they make you pay $500. Now you've paid a total of $900 for Switch consoles.
Hey.
You're gonna do it.
Steam did that.
How was that?
Steam Deck did that.
Sure.
Yeah.
They released their OLED later.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's how you make money.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is change the screen.
They gotta figure it out. Consumers got no restraint.
Sean Coates writes, my hope is that the Joy-Cons from the original Switch will still work on the Switch too. Well, they won't be able to be plugged in. While it's obvious it wouldn't be able to. Oh, there it is. The very next line. Won't be able to.
Sometimes you just got to read.
I'm sorry. I was trying to communicate.
Anyway, you were saying.
While it's obvious you wouldn't be able to attach them to the tablet portion of the new console, it would be great if you could still pair them via Bluetooth for certain games or features. But come to think of it, that's highly unlikely. Joy-Con collectors these days, those who buy all different colors and special editions, are specifically revenue source for Nintendo. But maybe at least the existing Pro controllers will be compatible. I have a friend who is a controller collector, and anytime they release new controllers, he buys them. He's got a controller that is only about this big, and it connects via Bluetooth, and he can play with it, and it's only got 5 or 6 buttons on it. But he just, every time there's a new controller, he gets it.
That's hilarious. I think that those will work. I think that that's going to be a feature that they're going to say, hey, you buy a Switch 2, now you have 4 Joy-Cons, and it's going to keep you from selling your old Switch 1.
Yeah.
You're going to still keep it.
But the old Switch 1 is still going to have to be plugged in somewhere because you're not going to have a way of charging those old controllers.
Yeah, they just don't want you to get rid of the old one. Or
I
they?
I don't know.
They're going to make a little stand for the old Switch controllers.
I do want the Pro controller to be compatible, though.
Yeah,
that would be.
I like that thing.
Yep,
it feels really good in your hands. It feels very ergonomic.
Just like an Xbox controller.
Is it offset? I don't remember the offset sticks.
Yeah.
For the Switch Pro, yeah.
That's why I hate it.
It feels good.
That's why you hate it.
Paul Hine chimes in and says, my 2 cents, the Pro controller will be compatible unless there is some new gameplay feature new to the controllers for the 2. Then it's very Nintendo to have you pony up for a new one. Did the Wii U or Wii controllers ever work with the OG Switch? Same thing with the reissue of the 64, SNES, and NES controllers for online. I wouldn't put it past Nintendo to have you get all new stuff so you don't, quote, compromise the gameplay experience, unquote. I hope I am completely wrong on all of this. I hope you are too. I would love to see them be like, hey, guess what? You now have 4 controllers, like I just said. That would be kind of awesome of them.
The Pro controller 2.
Yeah, well, do a new
one.
Yeah, do a new updated, sexy, cool one or whatever. Just let me use my old one.
Right, but no, if they release a new controller, you won't be able to use the old one.
Unfortunately, I would buy the new one if I couldn't use my old one, which sucks because that means they got me. But
yep, but I mean, it's a guaranteed sale,
right?
Like they're gonna take it.
I wasn't gonna play Bayonetta 2 on a Joy-Con. Okay, just wasn't gonna happen. They got me the first time.
I couldn't imagine.
Zack?
Oh, jumping over to Jiki-san. Mm-hmm. I do want the Pro controller to still work. I don't even know if my current Joy-Cons even work. I haven't used them in forever. I also would love 4K output, higher frame rates of older games. I love the Switch. Its only real downfall to me is bad performance. Hoping Switch 2 improves the graphics.
Yeah, kind of a repeat of what we said already. One more.
Tim Thine. Honestly, I'm happy with what I've Thane. Sorry, Tim Thane. Honestly, I'm happy with what I've seen so far. I love my Switch, and it seems like a souped-up version. I gotta say though, I really need an OLED screen. I love my OLED Switch now, and I play exclusively handheld. It would seem like a downgrade if I didn't have one, or if they didn't have 2 options. I'm honestly conflicted if I'll get it right away if it has an LCD screen. But remember, the upgrade from OG Switch to OLED was so great. Also, anyone, especially at this age, just not care about the new Mario Kart.
Me,
Scott.
Kind of over it.
Yeah,
I'm just not here for it. I'll get it if the wife wants it, and maybe play it for the future kids though. Pretty excited for a new third Mario. Wait, what?
3D Mario.
New third 3D Mario, though, which I hear the next announcement. So damn it, I'll probably upgrade for the new games anyway.
And that, Tim, is why they will not do an OLED at launch.
Right.
Because they know you're conflicted, but you'll cave.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yep.
Exactamundo.
But I do a new 3D Mario. Can't wait.
I mean, last one was Odyssey, right?
Right.
And that was 2018?
17.
17?
Yeah.
Man, it seems a long time for a 3D Mario to not be there. Man.
Right. So it'll be ready, good to go. It'll be awesome. Have some new hook. 3D Marios are pretty good games. Yes. Will it be Astro back good? I don't know.
I know, man.
Probably not.
They set the bar, man.
Right?
Yeah.
All right,
Dude,
guys. Well, clearly we're all excited about the Switch 2, and
yeah,
hopefully you
I
guys.
can't wait to buy Red Dead Redemption 2 again on the Switch
Yeah,
2.
right. We need like every copy that it's whatever console it's on, right? In
That's
your
right. Yeah.
Pixel Ranch. So stay tuned for the socials. We're gonna have a new topic coming up on Friday. This week's topic came from Mark Szymanski. He wanted to talk about basically like a top 3 games that you regret never having played before. We're gonna do some kind of spin on it. We're gonna talk about it, but be ready for that on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Discord. But that's gonna do it for this episode of the Gaming Outsider. Thanks so much for listening. This was produced by Kevin Honigford, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website, as always, is stemagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. Zach, thanks so much for being here, man.
Yeah, of course. Anytime, man.
You got any parting words or recommendations for our listeners?
You know what? I mean, I know you recommended it a couple weeks ago, but I do just want to echo that Shrinking Season 2 is exceptional. I finished it. That last episode
Isn't it great?
It's pretty great, dude. I mean, that show is exceptional.
Like every episode just fires and then they get increasingly better somehow in season 2.
And it weaves you from heartbreak to laugh out loud funny, back to sorrow and joy. Like it all just feels so earned.
Yes.
It's just an
all
incredible show.
Both
Yeah.
the humor and the drama.
Yeah.
Very well earned. And I mean, I'm watching it in bed, like with a earbud in or whatever, and I'm like laughing out loud. Like,
right.
Like just some of the
Rude.
It's so witty, it's quick-witted, and it's just so funny.
Get Harrison Ford an Emmy.
Seriously. Like he's like blowing up, by the way. Like he's got that Western show, he's got this, he's got Captain America, like he's just all over the place again.
I mean, he's working.
Yeah. Get him while you can, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad you finished it, man. Please watch Shrinking. It's so good. Even if you don't have a membership, get the 7-day trial and just binge those 2 seasons. They're only like half-hour episodes. It's so good. Jake, how about you, man?
See, this is an awkward question for me because outside of gaming, I really don't have anything.
All right, well, I guess we'll have to stop asking you.
I got hit right. I got to do
friends.
I got
allegedly.
Allegedly. I have to do something with my hands. I have to be thinking about games and stuff. And so I don't watch a lot of TV. I'm sorry.
You could pimp what you do for a living.
I'm a realtor. I sell things. What do you
If anybody in the Rockford area needs
houses.
a realtor, am I going to do the sales pitch for you here?
Sure, yeah, go for it. Hit
If you are buying or selling a house in the Rockford area or in Northern Illinois, hit up Jacob Gunderson. He will take care of you.
It sounds so much more sexy when you say
it. Can't argue with that. Mine is another music recommendation. Coheed and Cambria dropped their 3rd single off their upcoming album that comes out in March. This song is called Someone Who Can, and I recommend you check out the music video. It's a really clever music. Remember when music videos were like a big deal? And
Sure.
when they happen nowadays, it feels cool. This one is like they've put whatever film grain on it to make it look like it's an older shooting, and they've got actors, young kids that look like each of the members of the band, like it's like Coheed and Cambria starting up or whatever. It's a really funny video, and then as they're going through, the roadies are the actual members of the band. Like they just kind of like one of them is fixing the van, one of them is like getting restringing a bass for the bass player, and it's just a really awesome video. And the song has got a good 80s hook to it. I'm really digging it. It's all 3 of the songs off of this album are just instantly hooks, and I really dig it. So Coheed and Cambria, Someone Who Can, and let me know what you think.
Are they approaching like the climax of the narrative they're building, or how does it? Because I know it's sold out of order, right?
Well, this is like a different arc that they're in. This is the 3rd album in this arc, and there's supposedly 4 in this arc. So this album will be the 3rd of 4. So I don't know how much that answers your question, but I really need to get into the narrative a little bit more. So
lore.
I just assumed you were deep in it.
no, I'm more of a fan of the music. And conceptually, I love that it exists. But dude, I have all the comic books of like the first arc, the first couple arcs. You're gonna make fun of me, dude. I struggle sitting down and reading a comic book. Like
I have heard that from people that don't read it out. Like you don't know do you not know which direction to read it, kind of thing?
no. It's more like I get antsy. Like I wanted to. I mean, even a physical book. I struggle reading a physical book. I want to listen to it audibly, and obviously you can't do that with a visual format. So
I was gonna say comic books you can kind of control the pace because it's relatively minor amounts of reading, but
yeah.
I guess you feel like you're wasting time. I assume.
Well, that and there's a good amount of reading because there's at least in the first chapter they're introducing things, and so there's a lot of exposition.
Okay,
and,
yeah.
Names that I refuse to not just gloss over. I try to pronounce them in my head. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna give it another shot because I've got all of them. So all right, guys. It was great chatting with you again. Thanks to everybody in the chat for stopping by. It was awesome to see you. Hopefully we'll see you next week. Until then, I'm Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson and Jacob Gunderson, and we are The Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.